What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in again. I'm Wyatt Bagnall.
Taylor Wallerstein.
And today we are diving back into the all-time brackets with the AFC North. But first, we're going to go over a couple breaking news type deals.
Absolutely.
So one that broke today is Julio Jones is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
I think that's a fantastic move.
Yep, it's all about health.
I think absolutely. First of all, wide receiver depth is ridiculous over there. Second of all, I think a washed up Julio Jones at wide receiver 3 is the best slot receiver in the entire NFL.
I'm not even sure if he's wide receiver 3.
He could be wide receiver. I think maybe Scotty
No, it would be him. Mike is 1.
Yeah, duh. And
Godwin's 2. And then they brought in somebody from the Falcons. They brought in Russell Gage.
Did they?
Yes.
Well, hey, more depth.
Yeah.
I would put Julio at 3 because if you put Julio in a slot situation, he's going to be able to get open no matter what. Especially against a third.
I think talent-wise, he's 3. I think health-wise, he's 4.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like that. That team is stacked on wide receiver. And
yeah.
That's why I like the move is because if any one of these guys gets hurt, someone can.
Who needs tight ends when you have 5, 6 wide receivers?
4 wide receiver set. Let's fucking see it.
Yeah, exactly. They got
5 wide receivers.
They got the quarterback for it.
Yeah, you might as well.
Kyler Murray needs to be babysat.
Oh, that's what I was going to talk about.
I love it. Okay. There we go.
Yeah, Weiler, dude.
Yeah, Kyler Murray doesn't do his homework.
No, apparently he has to be told by a contract that he has to turn off the damn video games and stop playing fucking Call of Duty so he can fucking do his $1 million job. What is interesting to me is that they didn't... there's no reason that he would ever even stop fucking doing what he's doing right now, Kyler. He got the money.
Now now it's financially incentivized. I think that they can take away money if he doesn't.
What are they going to do? Take away all $230 million?
No, but I think that I think that I haven't broken down his contract completely. Mm-hmm. Obviously, yeah. Listen, you're right, but at the same time, here's why I'm kind of on the Cardinals side with this, and I'm not on your side off in Arizona. You can't let him walk, because he's too good for that. And you don't have a replacement, and the Cardinals suffered long enough without having a quarterback. And that's just the price for quarterbacks now. So they
Mahomes level price though almost.
Well, the problem is everybody's getting that.
And granted, I know. That's the worst part is Deshaun Watson literally fucked up the entire market.
Well, the market
and it was already
the market was getting messed up anyways. Listen, I think there needs to be a metric of listen, I'm cool with Mahomes getting the deal he got. The dude's won a Super Bowl. He's been an MVP. He's been in 2 Super Bowls. The Chiefs are always really good. Say what you will about Mahomes. The man's earned his money.
100%.
Kyler has only been good for hot starts, fizzle outs, and first round exits.
Crying on the fucking.
By the way, maybe that whole slump thing. That could have something to do with the fact he's not studying, because around the second half of the year, that's when all the adjustments come around. Everybody sees what you're doing.
That is exactly what I was saying. I was saying, first of all, you can get off to a hot start because maybe he's just relying on his talent. The dude is very obviously an athlete. The dude can run around. The dude can make the throws that he needs to, straight to Russell Douglas when AJ Green isn't looking. But yeah,
exactly.
My issue with the whole thing is absolutely, I think the Cardinals are in the right here. If you do got to pay him something, you got to lock him down somehow. Granted, you already have him locked down for 2 fucking years still.
But he'll hold up. The quarterback thing. I know. Again, the problem is...
It's just so dumb that
it's absolutely
this
dumb.
Guy's getting rewarded.
No, it's absolutely...
This fucking guy.
It's absolutely dumb. The problem is every quarterback gets paid after year 3, or you get a Baker Mayfield situation where the dude's going to hold out and not do anything. Yeah. And you have to make that decision by year 3.
Yeah. And you do, unfortunately. And they were... I think the Cardinals are in a position where absolutely they had to save themselves in the best way they could by nitpicking on some of Kyler's maybe stuff that he likes to do. The way I look at it, man, is just he's an athletic guy for sure, which is why they're paying him. Is because he's a Lamar level guy. It doesn't matter if he can't make the throws at a certain point.
He can make more throws than Lamar.
He can make more throws than Lamar. I don't want to say that, but I think if you're in a position where you're Kyler, you can trust your athleticism a lot more than other quarterbacks can, so why the fuck would I watch fucking film for 4 hours a week when I'm fucking Liler, bruh? And I think that's really where we're getting this issue of Murrow, he doesn't know how to read a defense, so he's trying to use his athleticism to cover his faults of not doing shit.
Definitely.
And I 100% believe that the reason why they are unable to maintain hot starts is because the league figures out Liler halfway through the fucking season every goddamn time, and that's why the Cardinals always look panicked near the end of the season, even when they're winning games.
Well, my favorite thing about this is they're mandating he just studies like 4 hours a week. It's like, dude,
nothing.
It's an hour a night, 4 days a week. Or like,
it's like, bro, I have to do more work for that for Texas fucking Roadhouse. Like, dude,
yeah,
like fuck off.
It's just hilarious. Where it's like it's not even really homework. It's sort of just go home for 1 hour, watch some film. It's like I don't even think that would make that big of a difference.
With all the money you have,
difference.
Like, all right, well, because I was watching Pat McAfee today while I was hitting the gym. Because when you're doing cardio, it sucks. So I was watching the Pat McAfee show, and they talked a little bit about it. And Pat McAfee's comparison was Peyton Manning. I think it's a little unfair. Oh. It's a little unfair to look at how Peyton Manning looks at film and worships film.
And everybody else, yeah.
And everybody else. So I don't want to sit here and say that. However, I do think he makes a really good point of the guys who win Super Bowls, the best of the best. They're best friends with film.
Other than Nick Foles.
Who's just, shows up and balls out. when there's only 4 games left in the season, there's not a half season to figure him out.
I don't even think that it has to just do with Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Just look at really any quarterback. You don't hear this with most quarterbacks where it's like they don't study. It's a part of the position. And
you have to be the most knowledgeable guy on that team.
I'm not going to lie. I love it though.
I think it's hilarious.
I love it because it makes me feel really, really good that the Cardinals are just going to slump again, and we're all good.
It just reinforces that they're going to be bottom of the division for me. If Seattle finds a way to be above them,
it's also just if Cliff Kingsbury cannot,
he's out.
Get him to just. It's not that tough.
No, granted. You don't have to be there for 4 hours a day, Liler, fucking studying film in the middle of summer.
Or just do that once a week and knock it out.
Or do that once a week on a Monday. Just stay late at the facility. First of all, the fucking higher-ups are going to get off your ass if they see you're the last guy to fucking leave. Yeah. At the same time, you're benefiting yourself. Just fucking study, dude. If I go into a fucking test and I don't fucking study, I fail. And then I have to deal with the consequences. I don't get paid $230 million to go play fucking Call of Duty.
Fail upward.
Yeah, exactly. To me, and I'm about to go on a rant, so forgive me.
Here, I'll get started.
Yeah, get comfortable.
I'm ready.
I fucking hate Liler. I call him Liler because he's only full of L's. So I don't give him the K, I give him L. Fuck that guy. I hate him so fucking much. It is so fucking stupid that he is getting rewarded for how much he is, and I already made that point earlier, so I won't go into it again. I think it's fucking stupid that you're paying $240 million, but we have a contract clause in, so it's all gonna work out now. Go fuck yourself, dude. I'm not paying $240 million to a guy who doesn't do his fucking job when his job is to fucking watch film. So I think it's fucking insane, absolutely insane, that they're even fucking entertaining this fucking guy, because their first stance was, fuck you, Kyler, you have a great fucking contract situation already, you have yet to win a fucking playoff game, just get into the fucking playoffs, you baby Yoda wannabe, doesn't make you a $230 million fucking quarterback, because Mitchell fucking Trubisky should be a $230 fucking whatever fucking quarterback he is.
Let's go, Mitch.
Yeah, fucking prove me wrong, Mitch, fucking get that bag, go fucking own it in Pittsburgh. I mean, you won't, but go for it. But at the same time, I think it's just fucking stupid because I honestly, this is how I all see this working out, is Kyler doesn't give a fuck. Kyler's going to be, you're telling me to watch.
He's going to go play baseball.
Exactly, dude. The guy doesn't give a fuck, and I don't think that's a chiller attitude or a cool one. It's genuinely, he's so fucking entitled. He's got a goddamn God complex. It's fucking stupid. Dude, you're 5'4". You should be humbled from the day you walked out of the goddamn womb. And yet you're walking around with an ego bigger than your fucking stat padding. I don't fucking get it, dude. I genuinely don't get how this guy thinks, I can just go into the NFL and just fucking crush it with my ability alone without fucking watching film.
I think that's a lot of athletes, though.
And granted, a lot of athletes can do that. But Kyler is the one who got fucking caught for it with the fucking cod in his goddamn fucking... Do
you think that the Cardinals leaked this?
Yeah, absolutely. And good on him. Fucking good on him. Absolutely.
That's what I've been thinking about. I'm like, well, we know it wasn't Kyler, and a lot of people saying, well, the Cardinals wouldn't want to do that to a relationship. I'm like, I don't know, man. I think the Cardinals would want that out there. So if
absolutely.
So if it goes bad, they're like, hey, we had to pay the dude.
We had to pay the dude.
I agree with you entirely on that. He shouldn't get paid that much.
Nope.
There's a lot of guys that get paid a ton that shouldn't. Yep. Unfortunately, the way the NFL works, you're just sort of strangled like that. And if you're the Cardinals in particular, they couldn't find a quarterback for decades, and you finally have somebody that is obviously talented.
Yeah,
you're really stuck.
Yeah.
Kyler, it's not great. He doesn't deserve that money. he got it.
And he got it.
And
that's and I'm pissed.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's bad when guys like Larry Fitzgerald came out and were like, they handed him too much too fast, and now he's got... It's like, that's not the dude that normally comes... Exactly. He put up with like 30 quarterbacks in a year.
Imagine giving your 16-year-old the keys to the fucking Ferrari. And be like, oh, bring it back by 11, dude.
That thing's not coming back for days, and it's not coming back unwrapped.
It's not coming back at all. It's coming... You're going to the goddamn fucking tow shop because it's going to be in a fucking ditch. Yeah, or in the impound, exactly. Yeah. No, I think it's fucking stupid. I'm not big on Kyler at all, as you can tell. Obviously, I've made my point of I fucking hate Lyler, and I fucking think the Cardinals suck. And they will as long as they have Lyler.
I mean, I'm cool with it.
But go for it. Like, yeah, it's not my team. Like, if you want to... Like, I'm going to pay Joe Burrow in a year, and I'm going to be the happiest fucking guy on the planet. You guys are going to pay... You guys in 1 year are going to be like, what the fuck? Our quarterback's playing for the Oakland A's now. And we're still paying him. And then, but it's like, I just think it's fucking crazy, man.
No, it's crazy as hell. But I more feel bad because I think the Cardinals really do just had no choice. Like, they obviously had their reservations. The problem is, if they trade him, they could get a lot for him, but not as much as other people, especially at this point. Like, you need him for this year.
Yep.
And you can't go, like, there's not an immediate upgrade available. So the Cardinals are just sort of, like, stuck, and Kyler benefits.
Let's put it this way. If it's Madden, and I'm in control of the Cardinals here...
We trade him.
Yeah. Oh, Okay, well, first of all, I trade him before I even fucking pay the guy. First of all. I get as much fucking... And especially post-draft, I take the fucking tank. Cardinals have a fucking first overall pick, maybe, because of how bad that team is without Kyler. And then the 2 first rounds, or maybe the 3 first rounders, that a fucking needy team that really wants to make a splash right here at the end of this whole AFC, crazy turnover, or maybe an NFC team wants to fucking...
There wouldn't be an AFC team right now.
Probably not. They all have pretty solid quarterbacks.
They all either have solid quarterbacks or they have a young one that they're figuring out. But again, I think the Texans don't want to.
They don't have the draft capital either.
I don't think they want to.
Yeah, I think they're fine with tanking.
Yeah, I think the Texans are a team that are really... That's why they keep bringing in these dudes that are like 1-year deals, lower level free agents. Anybody that's good, they flip them for picks. The Texans are saving up for for something that they really, really want.
I think they wanted a Deshaun Watson that's not going to get fucking...
I think they might be looking at... oh, God, who's the guy at Alabama right now?
Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they might be eyeing him.
I don't doubt that at all, actually. I don't doubt that at all.
They want the capital to move up and get a cheap quarterback who's going to be good.
If they don't have the first overall pick already. Do they still have a first rounder this upcoming draft finally? Or?
Oh, yeah, they do.
Okay. Yeah, they should have a couple now because of the Deshaun pick.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or did they get picks for...
They got a lot of picks.
They got ammo.
Yeah,
they got ammo.
They got picks. And they've been trading anybody that's good, unless it's Brandon Cooks.
Which is bizarre to me.
It's the only team that wouldn't trade Brandon Cooks.
I know. What? Really? But like...
Yeah, but I think we've beat Kyler over the head enough.
I'm not done. Fuck you. No, but
there you go. One
now.
nice message.
I had to
one little message for Kyler. There you go.
You're a fucking entitled piece of shit. You don't deserve anything coming your way besides failure. There. Now I'm done. Sorry, Lyler. That was a little brutal.
I respect it. Listen, we all have things we don't like. You have Kyler Murray. I have the Seattle Seahawks.
God, I hate Kyler.
Well, listen. You gotta have things you hate. You know?
If you're not the, like, granted, I kind of, and I don't mean to change the subject, but, like, or I guess technically I do, but I like the Baker Mayfield kind of mentality. Or let me put it this way, I like the Joe Burrow mentality now, because Baker kind of had that chip on the shoulder thing, but he loses that chip on the shoulder. Like, he very much had that kind of, walk-on kind of swagger of, I gotta prove myself. Then he becomes first overall pick. On the Browns, still gotta fucking prove yourself because you gotta win the fucking starting job. You gotta fucking win games for the fucking Cleveland Browns, which is a lot to ask for.
What do you mean? They're so great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think having Baker kind of having that mentality of chip on your shoulder, kind of give you a reason to fucking be pissed and go fucking like hit the gym angry or some shit like that and really want to prove some people wrong. Totally get it. But with Joe Burrow's comment that he came out and said, work out in silence, prove them wrong with your actions. I mean, he didn't say that last part, but that's how I view it. I like that a lot better of, you know what, the chip on your shoulder is invisible at this point now. Of like that, and Kyler's one of those reasons of like, man, I hate that guy. It literally, I gotta wake up in the morning and go kick ass because fuck Kyler Murray.
There you go. He's got that written on his mirror.
It's on my fucking chest, on my tattoo, bro. Fuck Kyler Murray.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't mind the mindset of really any quarterback as long as like the work comes with it.
Yep.
Like whatever mindset makes you work is fine. There's been a lot of quarterbacks that win a lot of different ways. But not Kyler's. That ain't it.
No, I Paxton Lynch failed in the NFL, and the big thing behind it is apparently he played too many video games, never touched a fucking film book, was always fucking unprepared the second he showed up to play. It doesn't work. Like, I've played video games my whole fucking life. I've blown off work or I've blown off fucking homework or some shit to play fucking video games, and I've never succeeded. No. It's never worked out for me. So,
you gotta earn your free time.
Yeah. So exactly. And if you want to enjoy your free time, you have to earn it.
It's much more guilt free.
Exactly. If you just have free time because you're not doing anything, you're gonna hate yourself the whole fucking time. And that's the thing is that, like, Kyler, you have something right here in front of you to go fucking do and work at. And, I mean, bro, like, your legacy is what's at risk here.
I don't think he cares about that.
And that's what pisses me off, is how the fuck are you getting into the game of life, fucking football, and not give a shit about anything but money?
I know a lot of people do that. I think, honestly, it's a very easy thing to do.
I love football too much. I could never.
No, I love football. I love football, but it's also, like... That's a huge motivator for a lot of people. And
Absolutely.
Once you get it, I mean, the crazy thing is Kyler was like going downhill with the motivation before he got well, he already had the bag, but before he got the big bag, he was already not doing great. And now I understand a lot more of why the Cardinals are coming out talking about maturity and stuff like that.
It makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that we're talking about mature quarterbacks right now in the league. And the two ones that we're talking about are Deshaun Watson and Kyler fucking Murray.
Those are the guys.
Those are the fucking mature quarterbacks who are getting $230 million. So, I hope you're stoked about your future of paying your quarterback, because it's going to cost you a shit.
I'll tell you what, Arizona, I'm stoked about it.
I'm stoked about this move. This is like, how are you going to pay guys to bring in to support?
The same way all these other teams do it. You sacrifice certain things and. Listen, the Bengals are going to have to do it. The Chargers are going to have to do it. They're all going to have to do it.
Absolutely, but they have the pieces around their young quarterback that they already have to pay. Right now, you're in a situation where you got Hopkins. He's obviously suspended, but it's Hopkins.
Yeah. So you got that.
You got that.
They got to they drafted some tight ends that are going to be interesting. They drafted one guy out of CSU that was the best tight end in the draft.
Trey McBride.
That's the one.
Big McBride guy. I wanted him in Cincinnati.
I don't know how great he'll be like at the pro level, but he was good in college. So tight end is... I don't think it'd be fixed this year. I don't think tight ends come in and do great right away.
Who's the Max Williams?
That's not a tight end. That's not a weapon.
Yeah. Before he got injured, he was playing well, but we'll have to see. He's just a guy who was having a good season.
I don't know.
Beginning of the season.
But Cardinals, listen, it is what it is. He'll be fine. Like, he's never going to be the worst quarterback in the league or anything like that. But they're just going to have the same issues.
I don't know if he's ever going to be top 10 to justify that fucking contract this early.
I think Kyler will probably always hover around number 10.
I think he'd be outside looking in. But again, biased, so I will admit to that. I'll admit to that.
Yeah.
Heavily biased. I mean, more than the Niners fan on this one, I'm more biased.
And that's saying something.
That is saying something. Granted, I lived in Arizona for 14 years, so I had to deal with Cardinals fans for half of my fucking life almost.
Oh, yeah.
More so then. So, granted, that's kind of where a lot of this hate comes from, is just living in the desert and watching terrible desert football and having them tell me they're going to beat the Broncos.
I think, oddly enough, I think the fact that my team's been in their division makes me more, apathetic to them, because they're just a big, nothing all the time.
That's fair.
So you're just sort of whenever the Cardinals mess up, or I don't think the Cardinals messed up, but they were just sort of whenever the Cardinals have to do something like that, it's just sort of
sucks.
There they go. Same old Cardinals, baby.
It's like that video where the kid's running, and it's like, what are you holding? It's like, a knife. Yeah. And it's like, no. And
exactly. Yeah, no, that's the Cardinals. The Cardinals just sort of exist out there, and it's they can do a couple good things,
yep.
But they'll take a couple steps back every time. They just are what they are.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's tough to see.
Yeah. So moving on.
I like the 2015.
Moving on from Kyler Murray, though. Training camps have begun.
Yes, sir.
And I know from my team anyways, Deebo Samuel has reported, so no holdout, which makes me think he's about to get paid. Aaron Rodgers showing up from Con Air.
I loved it. Man, it might be one of the best looks I've seen Period. Like,
I mean, listen, it doesn't look bad.
I mean, for showing up for fucking, like, it is a classic, simple move for showing up to training camp. Not too flashy. I think it sends the right message.
It's a little flashy.
Well, it's flashy.
He knew what he was doing.
Well, he could have showed up in a goddamn helicopter. He fucking rolled up
who was it?
Or he could, whoever the fuck it was. Or AB
Didn't he show up in a blimp?
So I don't know. Someone showed up in a goddamn in a fucking armored truck with a bag. Like,
that was Jalen Ramsey at the Jaguars camp.
Yep, Jalen Ramsey. Thank you. So I think there's a good way to do it that sends a good message for the team, especially when you're a team leader like A-Rod. Back-to-back MVP, you're coming looking ready to fucking work. Like, let's
back-to-back MVP, back-to-back early playoff exits. Here we go.
Granted, he is still the leader of that team, fresh off a contract extension. I got to give it to him. That's the right way to do it, especially after $200 million given to you or whatever the fuck it was in that contract. He could have shown up and been such a douchebag.
I wonder how many hours the Packers make him study.
At least 4.
At least 4. Yeah.
At least 4. So,
we know
he's doing that.
Training camp is officially underway.
Yep.
'Tis the season again. Football season is right around the corner.
We're fucking back.
And
I woke up this morning with my dick a little harder.
There you go. See what I'm curious. It's always this time of year though where I start to look around for who's the unlucky team this year that's just gonna be hurt. Last year it happened to Baltimore right away.
Ooh, you're right.
2 years ago it was San Francisco.
Fuck.
It always starts in training camp for one team, and it's like, key players are already going down. Yeah. The last 2 years it's been really obvious.
And knock on wood that it's neither of our teams.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I'm not sure. There's a few teams that... It's probably going to be the Chargers.
No, don't say that. Knock on wood. I love those guys.
Me too, but they're always hurt. They always get hurt.
I know, but I'm hoping for change. I don't know. Maybe I'm insane, but
I mean, I hope the Chargers do well.
I like the Chargers. Yeah, I like Herbo over there. I think I like that the Bengals are getting this one out of the way quickly. Joe Burrow is not reporting to camp because he's getting an appendectomy. Appendectomy?
He's having his appendix out.
He's getting his appendix out. We're not doctors, but he is going to miss training camp. I want to pull up a quick little stat that I have on my phone here.
The entirety of training camp?
I think so. Which is definitely a bummer, absolutely. But I have a stat right here that I absolutely love about players post-appendectomy or whatever the fuck it's called. So this is a good time.
How niche of a stat is this?
Yeah, this is as good time as any to bring it up. Remember Patriots kicker Nick Folk?
Heard of him.
Yeah, bear
familiar.
down. Arizona legend, bear down.
There you go.
Hit 83% of his field goals with an appendix. Hit 92% of his field goals without one.
It's that flexibility, baby.
So, yeah, it gives you a little extra flexibility for that kicking leg. Works out well for Nick Folk. I think he's just trying to lose a little bit of weight so he can get right over that 25-mile-per-hour mark. Burrow is going to be just scorching down the field. Yep.
You better hope not.
Oh, absolutely not.
That's not what you need. The last thing you need is Joe Burrow thinking he's Lamar Jackson.
Exactly. That would terrify me to no end. But absolutely not. He's just losing a little weight to get a little leaner. He's just trying to show up. He's taking care of himself now so that he can focus solely on the season when it comes up. And that's what I love to see from Joe Burrow and the Bengals. But if I had to take a guess of who is going to be the most injured team in the training camp, again, knocking on wood, something screams to me about the Raiders. I don't know what it is. It's too perfect. It's too perfect. Getting Devontae Adams.
You think the Raiders are too perfect?
No, I think getting Devontae Adams and bringing him with Derek Carr for almost fucking nothing, it feels like.
Well, according to Devontae Adams, another Hall of Fame quarterback.
Another Hall of Fame quarterback, apparently. Not wanting to see anybody get injured, obviously. I no longer hate the Raiders not being in the AFC West, so granted, go kick Denver's ass, you'd be my guess. But I have a bad feeling about the Raiders. I don't know what it is. I think it looks too good on paper.
My bad feeling is that they're just gonna not do as well as people think. That's about the extent of my bad feeling with the Raiders.
I think the team's good enough to play decently well.
I think they are too. I just don't think a lot of people were saying they're gonna be even better than last year. I don't think that they'll be that much better.
They definitely improved, but I don't know by how much.
But everybody else,
Devontae.
My problem is everybody else improved.
Everybody else improved a
Yeah,
exactly
and even if Kansas City got worse, I'm still not sure if they closed the gap on them.
That'll be interesting to see. I think Kansas City and Oakland, long time ago. I think Las Vegas and Kansas City are very, very close. Because basically one of them lost a wide receiver one, the other one got one.
I'd still take Kansas City just because I've seen them more. But
I'll take the underdogs.
Go for it.
Yep.
That's all good.
$10. Raiders have a better record than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You want to lock it down?
I'll bet that.
Put it down.
I'll bet $10. Yeah. Finally, a reason for me to root for Patrick Mahomes.
Fuck.
Feels good.
I'm so
It's
excited.
finally good.
One more reason to root against them.
It's good to be. It's good to finally have a reason to get on that train.
Raiders.
Instead of constantly getting run over by it.
It's fair. What is the other bet that we had from the previous episode? Do you remember it all?
No, you wrote it down.
I know, but I lost it. I know it had something to do with records though, or making playoffs. Maybe. Oh, fine.
It might have had something. It might have had something to do with the Ravens and Bengals.
Was it who won? Oh yeah, it was Bengals win the division, and you have Ravens win the division.
I know. All I know is we've talked a lot about Ravens and Bengals, and I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
It's another $10 bet, sir.
Yeah.
Bengals over Ravens. Perfect.
Yeah.
I can't wait to make money now.
Yeah, you should pick better bets then.
Doing pretty good, man. I got 2 solid ones right here, I gotta say.
Okay. Totally.
Also, I kind of want to put money down on Tampa Bay to win the Super Bowl this year. I'll be honest with the.
I'm not gonna put anything down on that till we get out of training camp.
No, I mean legitimate betting apps.
Yeah,
that might be something I put it down on.
I still wouldn't put anything down before they get out of training camp because the second you do that, all of a sudden Tom Brady's the one that gets hurt.
Oh, God forbid. Yeah, same with fantasy drafts. Our league has our fantasy draft late August, something like that. Just because you know exactly at that point.
You know who's playing.
Yeah, you know who's playing. You know who's hurt. You know which rookie is good. It's just a good time for everyone to get in. If you're one of those people who drafts fucking September or some shit, dude. Just do yourself the favor and get out of that league. If you're paying money on it, you might as well just burn the money because it's easier.
Yeah.
But you never know who's gonna get hurt. Because I remember one time we were drafting for it was when Julian Edelman got hurt, and so I wasn't the commissioner, so I didn't have any choice of when the draft was gonna be. They picked the draft early September. Some guy picks Edelman, because why wouldn't you? And Edelman is out for the fucking season or whatever the fuck it was.
Last year, I sort of played the opposite on that.
Okay.
Where I picked somebody who's coming off an injury because in his rookie year, I saw Debo look really good in flashes, and he got better and better at the end of the year. Then he was hurt a lot the next year, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pick him up.
Sure.
And that worked really nicely.
Buying low on guys coming back from injury is a fantastic move. I don't think it's the move. Don't go out of your way to just anybody who's off an injury is not going to fill up your roster and make you a champion. But I think absolutely there's guys like Debo who it's coming off of an injury-ridden season. I'm still.
I also did it because I was very familiar, obviously, with the 49ers, and I'd just seen a lot of the different things they were doing with him and how he got better in his rookie year.
Yeah.
And I was expecting him to make a big leap in the second year, but then he got hurt. And so then I was like, okay, I still think he's going to take a big leap. So I just took a flyer.
Hey, why not? And it fucking worked.
Worked out nice.
Yeah, it worked out real nice.
But I think that pretty much does it. We'll obviously keep up more with training camps and stuff like that as it gets more interesting. But
really quick, I have one question for you.
Go for it.
Before we get into our rosters and stuff. Obviously, now that most of the alternate helmets are pretty much out and everything, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, Bengals.
Oh, no, we talked about that one. Do you have a favorite one that isn't Bengals? Because obviously we have the same favorite.
I mean, the Pats one's awesome, but we talked about that also.
And we've seen it.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the ones that haven't come back. I don't like the Bears one.
Not at all.
I don't like the Texans one.
It's all right. It's not great. It's not even good. I honestly think the Texans need a new logo.
Yeah, probably. Gosh.
And a rebranding at this point.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to go through my mind on all of them real quick. You're going to say Carolina.
I do like Carolina's. The black and the blue is sick.
Yeah.
I've always liked Carolina's color pattern. I'm trying to think of what else.
That's why I'm leaning New Orleans right now.
New Orleans actually is a cool one too.
Yeah.
My thing was I made a whole big rant about this to my friend yesterday when we were playing video games. I was just like, dude, so many of these helmets are just thrown out because a team has no identity or they're fucking bad right now, or they're coming off of a bad season, and they're like, fuck it, put black on a helmet. Like the Cardinals. We're gonna put black on
They're all
them.
blackout. I honestly, that's actually kind of a cool thing that they do with like the black and red mixed in.
That should have just been their
I just don't
helmet.
like...
It should have just been their default helmet.
Yeah.
I honestly, honest to God, I think the only reason why they're not black and red solely is because classic look is obviously the red and white. But in a modern era with Kyler, I absolutely would have gone with the black jersey
here's the
and
thing.
white
Listen,
pants.
Arizona, if you're scared of switching to black and red
It's because
instead of white and red...
Well, I think it's because of the Falcons. Because the Falcons are birds, black and red.
Yeah, but even the Falcons have sort of gone away from that type of color scheme. Now they got a bunch of silver in there, and it's like it's just different colors. It's matte black and all that. But Cardinals, if you're afraid of changing it for like legacy purposes, your franchise's legacy is bad. So feel free to mix it up.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna be heartbroken about seeing the good old days uniform go.
Yeah, and you can turn that red jersey into an alternate uniform. You don't have to toss it. But
Yeah.
Like I think absolutely, I very much like their white, the black and red with the white pants look, and then that black helmet would honestly, that's a sick look right there.
Yeah.
The issue is they're just pumping out a blackout helmet because they fucking can.
Yeah, well, that's what everyone's doing.
And that's what bothers me is that like guys, like I would have. Like, where's the Denver Broncos helmet? Where's the throwback light blue and orange one? I don't want the fucking Color Rush one.
No.
Where's the fucking classic one? Like, there are a couple of other teams that I'd love to see. I don't know why the Eagles went with a blackout helmet. I would have loved to see a throwback Kelly green jersey.
Well, I'm shocked that they didn't do that old one.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Is like they just went with.
I'm gonna go with New Orleans because if we're taking off Cincy and New England, those two are like pretty far ahead for me than the other ones. So I'll just stick with black and gold. Like I just like the colors more than the other teams.
I like the design on it. I like that's what I'm looking for. Is if you're gonna do a blackout helmet, give me something that isn't just your normal helmet that's black.
Yeah.
Because that's all, like that's not a fucking alternate helmet. That's you.
No. I'm
out.
excited to see the Chiefs blackout helmet coming out and the Chargers and all that. Yeah. We're gonna get some really cool blackout helmets from all these teams now.
I see.
The Packers blackout's gonna be epic.
I'd like to see a blackout uniform concept, but that's more for fun.
There's a few teams that would just look weird with it. Like they just have weird colors to go with black.
Yeah, black and dark green. First of all, Jets and Eagles. What the fuck are you doing? Like, and then I don't know. It's just.
I think the Eagles look better than the Jets.
Well, of course. To be fair, the new uniforms of the Jets are fucking awful.
I know, but I'm just saying even the colors. Like for some reason the shade of green that Philly has works better with black than the Jets to me.
I'm the opposite. I like the Jets green because when I think Jets,
I've always found them ugly.
I almost think New York. It's weird as hell.
Well, New York is just. I mean, the Giants look good, but the Jets have never looked that great.
Speaking of the Giants, that throwback helmet that they have.
Oh, you know what?
That one's
That's actually what I'm going with. Yeah.
You like that one?
I'm going with that old school Giants helmet.
Matching it with the old school jerseys.
Yeah, I'm going with that one. If I can't do Bengals and Patriots, I'll go with that Giants one.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's up there for me too, but I very much the only two teams I think are really maybe three are justified in the blackout helmet for this one. I think it's the Panthers because they have fucking black.
Because black's one of their colors.
Exactly. The Saints.
Black's one of their colors.
And I'll even give it to the Cardinals. Black's
one of their colors.
Exactly.
It's the teams that pull black out of nowhere.
And trying to match.
Whereas like the Jets, it was like they were like green and white, and now they're like now we're going black.
Yeah, and they randomly put black in. I don't know if it's
black.
Like honest to God, like you guys should have just like stuck to the you wanted to go black, just go all black. And green.
I felt the same way about when the 49ers did black alternates. I was like, I never liked it.
I think that's fine because I like the black alternate idea. Like, you're committing to it being an alternate.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just never liked it for the 49ers. Because they'd never had really anything to do with their uniforms.
Yeah, that it is a little out of nowhere, though, which is kind of interesting about it.
Yeah.
But I think it looks good. It's not my favorite Niners jersey, though.
I'll take it.
It's not my favorite Niners jersey, but when I get drafted from Madden onto the Niners to be their fucking replacement quarterback, because I'm just randomly putting myself somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rock the black unis.
All right, fair enough.
For a little bit, I'm not. Like I said, not my favorite.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think there's a few teams that can mess around with stuff. I think a few teams just mess with it because it's just a solid base color. Yeah. That's all good. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Giants. If I can't go Bengals and Pats, I'll go Giants.
Yeah.
But so now we're going to dive into our all-time brackets for the AFC North here.
Stoked.
And I'll let you decide where we start. Do you want to start? I'm going to insist that you start in Ohio.
You want me to start in Ohio?
Yeah, so either we're going to start either Browns or Bengals.
Well, I mean, I would rather start with the Bengals. I was going to save them for a little bit later, to be honest, but I'm fine with starting with them. It was a great exercise for me as a new fan of the Bengals to learn a little bit about their history, some of their guys who came before, and I actually kind of feel a little bit closer to this team I'm calling home now for it. And this is our, we've said this multiple times. This is our favorite part of the whole process, is that we get to learn so much more about football history.
Yeah,
gotta love it.
We officially, we know more about most teams and a lot of fans do. So
granted,
like people who love these teams don't even know like the best players from the 40s.
Yep.
That were on this team.
Yep. No, I very much love this opportunity to sit down and look at classic Bengals team and figure out why people fucking love them, even though we don't have a Super Bowl ring. So, that being said, I actually starting with our coach. I went Forrest Gregg over Marvin Lewis, over Paul Brown. I think that's the right move for sure. He's the type of guy. He turned this team from a 4-12 team to a 6-10 team. Then eventually brought us to a Super Bowl. This is the guy that you want, especially for a locker room. This is the coach that brought the Bengals together. I think if anyone kind of resembles the Bengals as a kind of a leader in this situation, I gotta go with Forrest. I think he's the man.
That was my second choice.
Yep.
I went with Marvin Lewis. I would love to have done Forrest Gregg. I was a little bothered by the fact he was only there 3 years.
That's fair.
And Paul Brown, big consideration.
Of course.
I thought that his best years of coaching were in another spot.
I agree.
And I went with Marvin Lewis because he was the longest tenured Bengals coach, had the best winning percentage, or among the best. Got to the playoffs with Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton. Obviously didn't win in the playoffs, but that's really the only place he ever stumbled.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that's pretty much every Bengals coach ever.
Fair enough.
I'm just saying, honestly, Cincinnati, this is one of the first teams that did not have a standout cut above one level above everybody else head coach. So I went with the one that was really consistent for a really long time, and he made the Bengals competitive when he had the Steelers, the Patriots, the Ravens, the Colts, all those type of teams to contend with. And he still had a record that was a winning one, got to the playoffs a lot with Carson Palmer, with Andy Dalton. Just couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs. And honestly, should have if Vontaze Burfict and Pac-Man Jones didn't decide to royally screw up.
That one? Yeah.
So, honestly, he should have had a playoff breakthrough, but stuff just worked out that way. But yeah, this was the toughest one for me to decide, like I said, because the Bengals, they didn't really have a clear-cut head coach. They had a couple dudes that were good, but I also just figured I don't want to go with the dude who was only there 3 years and then bounce to Green Bay.
And granted, totally get that. I think there's a reason he ended up going to Green Bay, which is exactly my issue with Marvin Lewis as somebody who, watching the outside looking in, completely unbiased, I never really trusted in Marvin Lewis. It seemed that the locker room was how do you not control Vontaze Burfict? How do you not keep?
Well, no one did.
Granted, no one did, but I think there's a lot of situations where Marvin Lewis did not control the locker room. He let the locker room kind of go crazy, and that's what leads to playoff bungles like that, which is the
Bungles, baby.
I hate that fucking Granted, I don't even know why I hate it.
Are you guys Houday or Houdat?
Today.
Okay.
Houdat
Saints
is
Saints is Houdat.
Yeah.
I always get it mixed up because they all have the same damn rhythm to the chant too.
It is a tough one. I think this is the guy that if you give me the best Bengals teams that Marvin Lewis had, and you put Forrest Gregg in that situation, I don't think the mistakes come out as much. I don't think the bungles.
Do you think they get to the Super Bowl?
I don't know about that. But I will say I think there's more playoff consistency.
Okay.
As a constant wild card in a division with a great Steelers team.
Well, that's part of why I gave this to him, because that's exactly what the Bengals were.
And I'll give him that, but I think absolutely Forrest Gregg could do the exact same thing Marvin Lewis did, but have playoff success.
Okay, that's fair.
And control the locker room.
Yeah, again, like I said, this is I don't have anything wrong with that choice. I didn't feel overly strongly about the head coach for the Bengals choice. So I went with the dude who was there the longest.
And Marvin Lewis did end up getting Coach of the Year, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I think I don't think he's a bad coach by any means, nor do I think like Marvin Lewis isn't the right pick. It's just whenever I think of Marvin Lewis, I think of wasted opportunity.
Yep.
And that's I would hate for
It's weird.
a team
that
like
comes
this.
to mind a lot when I think of the Bengals in general.
Shut up, but not anymore.
That's crazy.
We're a new team now.
Well, I mean, you just wasted a pretty big one.
Which one?
Oh, the Super Bowl.
I wanted to pretend. I think we weren't even supposed to be there.
No, you weren't.
I would say the fact that we made it there and were competitive that entire game gives me a lot of confidence going into this next game.
That was absolutely like a win for you guys. I'm just being shitty.
Nah, good.
Yeah. All right, so I think we're going to agree at quarterback. Did we both go with what we're projecting for?
Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Ken Anderson, especially after I looked at some of the stuff that he, did through this whole process, how good of a quarterback he was. I wanted to put him.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Joe Burrow's man.
I put Joe Burrow. He doesn't even have any accolades as far as like Pro Bowls or All Pros or anything like that. He'll get those as they come.
Yeah.
But
this is his first full season. It's only 2 in.
He'll get all that as time goes on.
Yeah.
I'm still not certain if he'll win a Super Bowl or not in Cincinnati, but I think by the time he's done, he'll be the best quarterback in Bengals history, and I feel really confident in that.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest thing that would hold Joe Burrow back is the fact that the Bengals are a notorious penny pinching organization, and as soon as they have to pay these young dudes that they drafted well, that's when we'll really find out how committed the Bengals are.
It's a good point. It'll definitely be interesting to see, especially with this whole Jesse Bates situation going on.
Yep.
Seeing the safety market now, I'm honestly with the Bengals. I think trade, get some value for him ASAP, and because he didn't report to camp.
Yeah.
And roll with Daxton Hill, who you drafted in the first round. Even if he's not Jesse Bates year one, who cares? The pass rush is going to be great. Yeah. And he can learn on the fly.
I don't think that they're going to get somebody to trade for him on the franchise tag, though.
Yeah.
Because that's a first-round pick minimum, and nobody's going to trade that for a safety. Not him, anyways, who's only had one really consistently good year.
He's been an anchor to this defense for sure.
Well, 2020 was great.
Mm-hmm. 2021
slumped in the regular season. Great postseason. And that's been the extent of him being really good. So I don't think you're going to get, nobody would trade what the franchise tag demands.
That's fair.
For that. So you'd have to take it off him, and then he's a free agent.
Yeah.
So you're basically stuck. It's
a very interesting situation. Find a way to trade him is all I'm asking for, is get some value out of this, because he's not coming back. So if this is a situation where we get nothing out of it, it's better than paying him, to be completely honest. And this is no dig against Jesse Bates at all. I was very much of the.
Let's get back to the offense, though.
Yes, my bad.
No, you're all good. I just realized in my head, I was like, oh, we've been going off.
Yeah, we just started talking about Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And now we were talking about modern Bengals.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow, like I said, I don't think you don't need to win a Super Bowl to become the best quarterback in Bengals history. I think that he might get one. I don't know if I'd put it at more than one. But, from what I've seen from Joe Burrow, I think he'll be the guy for the Bengals for a long time.
I think he locks up one for sure. I think this might be a conversation in 20 years we're having where it's like, man, if only we'd won that first Super Bowl, we'd have 2 or 3.
You better hope it's not. We'd have 1.
I don't think it will be. I'm confident in this team. I'm confident in Joe Burrow himself. I think absolutely Joe Burrow gets a ring sometime.
All right.
Sometime in the future.
Who you got at running back?
Oh, Corey Dillon.
Me too.
Yep.
I thought you were going to go Joe Mixon.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I went with a guy who I think it was 6,000-yard seasons on a terrible team, on terrible Bengals teams.
All-time leading Bengals rusher.
All-time
3
Bengals
Pro
rusher.
Bowls.
I very much am a fan of Joe Mixon. Big time. I actually just traded Derrick Henry for Joe Mixon in a keeper league because there's no A.J. Brown over in Tennessee, and he's coming off an injury. We'll see. I like Joe Mixon with that O-line big time. But yeah, I think
I don't like how much they're going to throw it.
I think we run it a lot more now so that Joe Burrow doesn't have to throw it as much, so that we can throw it over the top still and do what we do with Jamar Chase when they're playing run. We throw it over deep with Jamar, but we'll see. We'll have to see. But I think we have an O-line now that can support a run game, and Joe Mixon is a 1,000-yard rusher multiple times with no O-line, so we'll have to see. I think when it's all said and done, maybe Joe Mixon is the guy that we're talking about, like Corey Dillon, but Corey Dillon is a little bit more proven. Yeah, he's a little bit of a head case in the locker room from what I hear. But
there's a few of those on this Bengals roster,
which is why I bring in Forrest Gregg, because I was like, I think this is the guy to keep this dumbass team together sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Corey Dillon, I think it's the right call.
Yeah, me too. Again, it's a tough one. I think Joe Mixon could easily pass him.
Yeah.
At some point.
Oh yeah.
But he hasn't really done it yet. Again, Joe Mixon's also been sort of up and down in his career. He only started really trending up the last 2 years. But
he's been consistent though. He's been consistently, like, they know they have a running back.
Yeah, they got a running back. See, I went with Corey Dillon also, but wide receiver, number 1, I went Ocho Cinco.
I went Ocho too.
Yep. 6 Pro Bowls, 3-time first team All-Pro, a second team All-Pro also.
Bro,
Bengals all-time leading receiver.
Ocho, yeah.
Kiss the baby.
Kiss the baby. Fuck, man, I love Ocho. He's the man, dude.
One of the most
Ocho.
entertaining people in the league that's like ever been in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love him.
He's good for football, and he on Twitter is so much fun.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's a blast.
Yeah, I think that was an easy number 1.
Easy.
Number 2, I went AJ Green.
Same.
7 Pro Bowls, so one more than Ocho Cinco, but two-time second team All-Pro, second all-time in Bengals receiving yards history.
Easy.
In his prime, before injuries sort of took him out, AJ Green was being compared to Julio Jones. So,
yeah.
like that's all you need to know. When AJ Green was healthy and in his prime, this was somebody who was one of the best receivers in the league, like firmly in the top 5.
Without a doubt. I remember every single year it was AJ Green in fantasy. Didn't matter whose quarterback was.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter. It was Andy.
Yep.
Granted, I like Andy, but
yeah, Andy Dalton wasn't bad. He's sort of like Baker.
I think if you're a Bengals fan who is not giving Andy his credit or not, appreciating what he did for the Bengals, go fuck yourself.
He made them relevant for almost an entire decade.
The only reason I knew about the Bengals was Andy Dalton.
Red Rifle, baby.
Yep. And I was like, no way he's good. And every year he played he played good enough.
Yep. And then wide receiver 3. This is somebody who could move up quite a bit, and that's Jamar Chase.
Yeah, absolutely. I got him too. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
One already a Pro Bowl and an All-Pro team. Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's shown the ability to ascend to the top of this list, but I think that is easier said than done. Anything can happen with these young guys, and he's got all the talent, but he's got to show more before I put him over AJ Green and Ocho Cinco, who were really good for extended periods of time.
I agree. This is a conversation I've actually had in preparation for this entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
Playing video games with friends, talking to friends about football. Every time I get the opportunity, I always ask this question. I go, who are the top 3 Bengals wide receivers?
Mm-hmm.
And it always kind of ends up, like, even the people who are educated and know who else is there.
Like Isaac Bruce or something like that.
Isaac Bruce, Jerome Simpson, like a bunch of other guys like that. We've come to the conclusion that it's very clearly at the top. Ocho, AJ, Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase is a little bit more flexible just because he's been in the league for
1 year.
only a year.
He will be firmly in that top 3.
Absolutely. I think I was the idiot who said draft Sewell. I was like, draft Sewell, protect
Listen,
Joe Burrow.
I don't think you'd have been an idiot either way. I think both those things were fine. Penei Sewell played well in Detroit after week 1. Mm-hmm. That was something where you couldn't go wrong. It was just which do you prefer?
Yeah, I was preferring O-line at the time, but man, I'm glad I was wrong, and they went with Joe Burrow's guy and Jamar Chase, and apparently they live right next to each other. So
yeah, I believe it.
Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow can just go practice routes whenever they want.
They throw over the fence every day. Yeah, definitely.
But,
who'd you get at tight end?
I went Dan Ross too.
Me too.
Yeah.
Damn, we got...
Yeah, our Bengals team
Damn it.
very similar.
Yeah, it is. I was hoping for more debate, other than who our coach is.
The coach was the biggest debate so far.
Yeah. I bet we're going to have different left tackles. No way. But no, it's...
No, we don't.
Yeah, Dan Ross. Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. Eifert, if he had not been hurt, probably could have gotten to this point, but he was hurt too often.
Eifert was fun to watch when he was playing, and I don't remember watching him play a ton.
I remember 1 year, it was like his second year or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah. He popped off for fantasy.
It was his second or third year in the league, and then after that, he just never stayed healthy. Then went to Jacksonville, and you know what happens in Jacksonville.
It's a staph infection.
It's where you go to die.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went with Dan Ross.
I went with Dan Ross too. I think it was the right call, but I will say I'm excited to see what Hayden Hurst can do. I think when it's all said and done, maybe Hayden Hurst is the guy.
Maybe.
If we keep
again, I think that position is definitely attainable on this team.
Yeah, I think you're not asking for a lot from Hayden Hurst to be the best franchise
to be the best tight end for the Bengals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Left tackle.
Anthony Munoz.
Come on, yeah, it's Munoz by a mile.
Yeah, there was no.
I mean, this is like this is probably the blue chip player on this team. Like 11 Pro Bowls, 9-time first team All Pro, 2-time second team All Pro, 80s All Decade team, NFL 75th and 100th anniversary teams, Man of the Year, and a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, give it up for him.
That's probably the best Bengal that's ever strapped it on.
I think so. I think you could talk Ken Anderson. You could talk Ocho.
I don't. I think this is by a mile.
This is the guy. I mean, some people have their favorite Bengals of all time that aren't alignment. But
I think favorite and best are two different things, though.
I agree. I think absolutely for him to be a blindside fucking tackle and do what he did. I mean, shout out him.
Definitely.
Yep.
Who'd you got at left guard?
Max Montoya.
Damn you, me too.
Max Montoya, 4-time Pro Bowl, 1-time second team All Pro.
Only 3 of those Pro Bowls were in Cincinnati, you bastard.
Oh, excuse me, 3 Pro Bowls. But yeah, no, just a solid guard, great guy, Bengals player. Like, just keep him in the lineup.
Yep.
Let him run.
Center, I went Rich Bram.
Same.
I hate you. 13-year-old Bengal.
A 13-year
Bengal. He was the center who paved the way for Corey Dillon.
Yep.
Not a ton of accolades in terms of Pro Bowls or All Pros.
Nope.
But a really consistent, long-time player for the organization.
I mean, if you're playing center for 13 years for the same team, you're doing something right.
Well, I think we might differ at the other guard spot, mostly because it was super unclear. Like I had no idea who the hell to put here.
Okay.
So who'd you put?
I put Bruce Kozerki.
That was down like one of the 3. I went Pat Matson.
I can't blame you for that one.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's sort of like the center position. Not a ton of accolades at the second guard spot,
which is why we start looking for consistency.
Yeah, pretty much.
High level play consistently.
Yeah. So we went for people who just like were able to fill the gaps for a long time.
Yep.
So that's what I went with. Yep. And then right tackle. This is the other one where we could differ. There are 2 off. We did. Yes, all right.
We finally got it. We differed on our moves.
I decided to go Whitworth.
I really genuinely thought about it. I was like, this is the right call for sure, but Willie Anderson needs his credit where it's due. Big Willie was just a fucking man.
Yep.
71, and now we have Lyle Collins, who literally had Willie Anderson's approval to take 71, which is so cool. He is a diehard Bengal. He literally epitomizes what it means to wear the stripes. I had to go with him, even though Andrew Whitworth is absolutely proven. I had to go with Big Willie, and shout out Andrew Whitworth getting his ring.
I went with Whitworth for longevity, like play, and multiple-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro.
Yep.
All that stuff. He had all that stuff with the Bengals.
Yep.
The tackle spot, there was going to be one good tackle left out. Fortunately, we each left a different one out.
I'm glad we got to include everybody.
Yeah, everybody got in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Defense.
Okay.
At the first edge spot, so I went 4 down linemen, 3 backers.
Okay.
I went Dunlap first.
Okay.
2 Pro Bowls, all-time sack leader for the Bengals.
I have him. He's my second DN.
Okay.
I have my first DN, Coy Bacon.
Yeah.
In 1976, he had 26 sacks before they were actually counted. So he technically owns the record for most amount of sacks in a single season. Doesn't count. So
it's not verified. That's why it doesn't count.
Oh, whatever. It's the 70s. You know when someone got a sack or not. It's not like the 50s where it's like, oh, maybe he lightly touched somebody and now we're counting it as a sack. But there's film on the guy.
Yeah.
Big Coy Bacon guy, I think. At one point, he literally was getting double teamed strictly because he had the confidence to go fuck him up and would go do it anyways. So I went with him. Carlos Dunlap as my second defensive end because all-time sack leader. Stud of
it's by a decent margin too.
Yeah, and
the next closest is somebody else on this list for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who else comes close to that.
Who else comes close to Dunlap?
Dunlap, besides who you're going to talk about, I'm imagining.
Yeah, after them, it's like a 10 to 15 sack drop off.
Yeah,
till the next closest one.
Yeah.
My other edge is Trey Hendrickson.
Okay.
Mostly because 1 year in Cincinnati, 14 and a half sacks. He has at least 3 more years left on that deal.
Yep.
So if he just stays somewhere around that pace, at the end of 4 years, he'll have 40 sacks in Cincinnati at least.
Huge piece.
And I think that's enough to get him on this team for me.
We got roasted when we signed him that it was an overpay. He's not that good.
It was a risky one.
It was a gamble, but you know what? It worked out really well. I love Trey Hendrickson. Looks like he's our guy. Gonna help. Like, it doesn't matter who's in our secondary if we've got a guy like him who can just destroy O-lines.
Yep.
So, I like that.
And then D tackle. The first one for me was really easy. That was Geno Atkins.
Right.
Yep, that's the dude who's really close to Carlos Dunlap for a second, but obviously neither one are Bengals anymore, so they'll stay where they are.
Yep.
But 8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, second-team All-Pro, 2010 All-Decade team, and second in sacks in Bengals history, like I mentioned. This was somebody that...
Geno Atkins destroyed game plans.
Yeah. He sort of gets overshadowed and lost in, like, the mix-up of Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt and other people who played along the D-line. Mm-hmm. And also it doesn't help that he was in Cincinnati.
Yep.
And nothing against Cincinnati. I'm just talking, like, in terms of a lot of these other teams just were on national TV more, were in big games more, and just had a better marketing team, I guess. But Geno Atkins in his time was an absolute game wrecker for Cincinnati.
Total stud. I remember I remember he was someone you watch out for in Madden every day. Like, every time I started playing in a franchise and the Bengals came up, it didn't matter what my O-line was, Geno Atkins was going to sack me 3 times.
I don't get sacked.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Second D tackle, Tim Crumry.
I got him too.
Yep. Damn
2 Pro Bowls, first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro, played in the Super Bowl with a broken leg, and then came back and played in the opener.
Yep.
Dude, I mean, wear the stripes, brother. What a fucking tiger. What a Bengal, baby.
Exactly.
What a fucking Bengal.
That's a very, very tough person. Unfortunately, played in a losing effort in the Super Bowl, but mad respect for going in there with a broken leg. There's only a few players that have done that. Terrell Owens did that, also in a Super Bowl. They lost also.
So playing a Super Bowl with a broken leg is bad luck, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or it's just because
there's only a few guys that have done anything like that. Like Rivers played an AFC Championship with a torn ACL.
Crazy.
Like, the dudes that do that, listen, you can talk all the shit you want about Rivers. Dude was a tough son of a bitch. But anybody that does that...
I gotta give it to him there.
Mad respect.
Gotta give it to him there.
Tim Crumry, second D tackle on this team. Moving to linebacker.
Okay.
Middle linebacker, I got Reggie Williams.
Middle linebacker, I went Takeo Spikes.
Really?
Yeah, fan favorite of the team. I remember Takeo Spikes was not on for a long time.
No, I think he was there... Was it 4 years?
3 or 4 years. Not a long time for sure, but quickly became a fan favorite. And again, this is a guy who I picked specifically because he wore the stripes well.
I went with Reggie Williams because, much like Takeo Spikes, neither one of them had a ton of accolades while they were with this team. But this was a 14-year-old guy. He was the heart of a 14-year-old guy. I keep saying that.
14-year-old guy.
This was a 14.
Another prodigy.
This was a 14-year Bengal who was the heart of a defense that got the Bengals to a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And again, another fan favorite. All the dudes that stick around for more than 10 years
are gonna be.
They're good enough. Like, they're good players that they didn't need to be replaced. And so that's what I got there. I got Reggie Williams as my Mike backer.
I got him as my left outside linebacker. I want him rushing.
Okay.
I also have him down as a Walter Payton Man of the Year. And then No, I think you already mentioned All-Pro, something like that.
Reggie Williams?
Yeah.
No, he never had. He didn't get a ton of accolades.
That's right. It was some team. I can't read my own fucking handwriting all of a sudden, which is the worst thing about this. But hey, he was something on an all blank team, and I think
he was all something.
He was all something. And Walter Payton Man of the Year, which we do love to bring up.
Yes, we do.
Good guy in the locker room.
My first outside backer is Jim LeClaire.
I have him as my right.
All right. So he was a one-time Pro Bowler, a 12-year Bengal who was also essential to those defenses that made the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And then who you got as your other backer?
Takeo Spikes, Jim LeClaire, and Reggie Williams.
Okay. My third one's perfect.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Well, here's the reason I did it.
Yeah.
Is because honestly, there's not a ton of acclaim in the Bengals linebacking core.
Yep.
And I need somebody, especially when you see some of the other guys that are on these other teams that this team had to theoretically play against. I need somebody that could hit a certain level.
Sure.
And even if it was for a year, Burfict was a Pro Bowler, a second-team All-Pro, and he's the type of nasty linebacker that the Bengals would need to take on the hard-nosed teams of this division. And I mean, listen, again, it was for a year. He played good for about 2 or 3, but 1 year he got like a claim for it.
Yeah.
So I went with Burfict.
And then he just went full retard.
Oh yeah, but yeah, he absolutely did. But listen, a lot of players do that. But
it happens.
In his time when he actually was playing for Cincinnati, he hit a decently high level for a linebacker.
He did.
So I got him as my other outside backer.
He did. I went with a guy I could trust a little bit more.
I don't blame you. I shot for upside.
And fair enough. I'll give it to you there. But yeah, I remember. I remember being hurt for Cincinnati Bengals fans watching that game.
The Steelers game?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Yep.
Honestly,
I remember being
and listen,
oh.
I like the Steelers much more than I like the Bengals.
But you never want to see
I was
you
like,
never want to see it.
Well, I felt bad because it was just like, it's been hanging over their head all week.
They had it in their hands.
That all week they never win playoff games.
Yep.
And it's right there. And to say they shit the bed
is an understatement.
Yeah.
I think that's where I started hearing Bungles more than I heard Bengals.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd heard that a lot.
I heard Bungles for a long time, but like being in Arizona, no one cared about the AFC North. I have one friend who's a diehard Steelers fan and hates me for being a Bengals fan now.
Why would he care?
Deej.
Why would he care?
Sorry, Deej.
Listen, if I'm being honest, like Steelers fans, there's no need to punch down, guys. Okay?
You guys have it all.
I'm just saying.
They're like, we're gonna get to you guys in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, we're gonna get you guys in a little bit.
It's unfair.
Listen, this team.
I was clinically depressed. I'm gonna be
very honest. Part of the reason I shot for upside, bringing in Burfict, is the Bengals roster at points can get a little underwhelming. So I shot for like the guys that would be like, if you catch them on the right day, it's a knockout punch.
There are some, I was going through the entire Bengals roster, and unfortunately, I did the Bengals right after I did the Steelers. So I did Steelers first. I'm like,
well, listen, I am insisting we do the Steelers last.
Okay, we'll do Steelers last but absolutely, starting with them and then going to the Bengals was like,
yikes!
I was like, guys. They have like a whole team of Hall of Famers.
Exactly. So, but
like,
moving on from linebacker.
Yeah.
Corner 1, I got Lamar Parrish.
We have the same. With Ken Riley for 1, Lamar Parrish for 2.
Why'd you go Ken Riley 1?
4-time All-Pro, 65 interceptions.
For the Bengals?
I mean, honestly, CB1 and CB2 could be interchangeable.
I went Lamar Parrish 1, 6 Pro Bowls, a first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro. Ken Riley, what I got for my Bengals stats is he was a 1-time All-Pro and a 2-time second-team All-Pro.
I got 4. I don't know. Maybe I looked at the wrong thing, but I have.
We might have whatever. We might have found
different. Yeah, we might have had different sources. I have him.
I also could have messed up my math if he ever played for multiple teams. Like counting my stuff.
Maybe it was one time All Pro for the Bengals, but I'm looking at
because every time I go through it, if they play for multiple teams, I cut it and do the math, and I only count how many times they did it for that team.
That's fair.
That could be where we're losing each other in translation.
That might be it. I looked at the 65 picks. And that is for the Bengals, and I was like, boom, problem solved there. And then with Lamar Parrish, granted, 6 Pro Bowls, 47 picks, 13 touchdowns off those picks, which
I think that's a record for the Bengals. It might be a league record.
Gotta be. That's a lot.
Definitely a Bengals record.
That's a lot of fucking touchdowns. But also, he was our returner, so I don't even have to find a returner on this team anymore. Lamar Parrish can play 2 roles.
I have a second one as a returner, just as a shout-out one, basically. Okay. But Lamar Parrish is it's the one.
It's the guy.
But, okay, so then moving on to safety, who you got?
I got David Fulcher as my strong safety, 2-time All-Pro.
I got him as strong safety also.
31 picks, easy peasy.
Yep, free safety.
Tommy Casanova.
Okay, I'm glad we had this conversation a little earlier. If they keep Jesse Bates, he will have that spot by the end of it with the Bengals.
No, we will not keep him. That's the issue.
Well, you don't know.
I don't think we keep him.
I think the Bengals want to keep him.
I don't think we want to keep him for the safety market.
No, but then he shouldn't have tagged them.
And I think it was to tag him, and then we lowballed him, which he obviously said no to.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. If Jesse Bates leaves the Bengals,
Yeah.
If he stays in Cincinnati, I'm projecting going forward he would take that safety spot.
And we'll see. I mean, if he ends up staying, I think that'd be great for this defense. Great for the locker room.
Well, your secondary doesn't have much beyond him.
Yeah.
So that would be a big problem for you.
Exactly. But also at the same time, kind of what I look at is like, I don't know, especially if we're going to become a team that has to pay all these young guys, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow.
You're not going to keep Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You're going to let one of them go.
I think we let Tyler Boyd go.
I think we pay
T. Higgins.
I think the only
Jamar
one
Chase.
you absolutely keep is Jamar Chase.
Without a doubt.
Because
Jamar Chase is on. I could see T. Higgins.
No, I could see T.
somewhere
Higgins.
else.
I could see T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd going somewhere else because I think they at some point might want to. Like they might want to go and prove like, hey, I can do that thing. I don't know. I think you got to pick and choose, and I think. Well, here's the other thing.
Well, if you can have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on a team,
yeah,
like, why do we have to pick and choose?
Well, you got to pick and choose because you can't let your defense become awful.
I think the defense is fine.
But your secondary is about to be trash if Jesse Bates leaves.
We drafted a free safety in the first round, Daxton Hill. Which, granted, he's not going to be Jesse Bates right out of the gate.
No, that's
I'm not
fine.
saying that. But
that's fine. But
I think there was an insurance policy.
But moving
here.
forward, I'll say this: if he remains on that team, he'll be the second safety on this team.
A little bit of a projection, but I think a valid.
Again, like I said, I feel very comfortable with putting projections on the Bengals.
I think you're gonna have to, but I think that's a good look at the free safety position of it's either Jesse Bates if he stays or it's a guy who crushed it.
Yep. All right, so on to special teams.
My favorite.
Now, this is important for Cincinnati more than other teams because they are probably going to be settling for kicking and punting, possibly.
Fuck you.
I'm just saying.
I knew you were saying that shit.
So kicker, I got Shane Graham because he's got the highest field goal percentage.
Okay.
We can't be missing when we get those shots.
Absolutely. I have Jim Breach, Super Bowl guy. Would have potentially been Super Bowl MVP if we had been able to hold off with our 16-14 lead, whatever the heck it was. But yeah, no, it obviously did not
Cool
happen.
Joe, baby.
Obviously.
That's the real Joe Cool.
I never said Joe Burrow is Joe Cool. I call him Joe Shiesty or Joe Burr.
We can keep that.
Best.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like those a lot.
Anybody that ever said Joe Cool pissed me off.
Joe Cool has always been Joe Montana.
Yeah.
In the same way that Joe Cool has never been Joe Namath. Like, even though Joe Namath
That's
was
Broadway Joe
cool,
all day.
Yeah, that's Broadway Joe. Like,
But yeah.
Joe Cool is specifically one person.
All right, so you got the kicker from that era. Who you got at punter?
I went with Pat McInally.
I went Kevin Huber.
Okay.
Mostly because, again, I think this Bengals team would have to play a field position game.
Sure.
And he had the highest percentage of the longest averages of punt average and the most the highest percentage of getting them inside the 20.
He's our guy.
So that's why I went with him.
He's our guy. He's a little bit of a modern guy. Obviously, he's the guy who we have on our roster now, so a little bit of a modern guy is a bit of an understatement.
A completely modern guy.
Completely modern guy, yeah.
Yeah, some might say.
I went with Pat strictly because dude was an athlete, played wide receiver for us as well.
Yep.
And at the same time, only player to get a 100% on the one to look.
There you go.
Smart guy.
All right.
I was like, if you're smart, you can figure out the modern.
You can
punting
punt
game.
for me.
Yeah, you can. I was like, if you're an athlete and you're smart, you can figure out the modern game.
We sort of also addressed who the main returner is for
Yeah.
us. It'd be Lamar Parrish.
Yep.
But I wanted to throw a shout out in there for Pac-Man Jones because
Okay.
as a punt returner, he was really, really good.
Yeah.
And we all have seen the video of how he caught the 6 balls. That was with Dallas, but he obviously just he was a skilled special teamer as well.
Dude could do it.
But yeah, it's we've already established it's Lamar Parrish.
Gotta be.
And so
Moving on to
do
the
you
Browns.
want to do either Cleveland or Baltimore? I'd rather do Cleveland.
Yeah, we might as well stay in Ohio.
Yeah, we're gonna knock out Ohio. Cleveland head coach. This is where I put Paul Brown.
This is where I put Paul Brown.
He's obviously the founder and the namesake of the Browns. He was the coach for 3 of their NFL championships. This was the pre-Super Bowl era.
Yep.
But they were 3-time NFL champions, and he's a part of the NFL 100 team. Hugely influential, great coach. If you see his coaching tree, it is insane.
Yeah.
But even though he coached the Browns and the Bengals, he coached the Browns to championships. He coached the Bengals to a lot of playoff exits.
And I think it's very obvious he's the Browns guy. I mean, when I was looking at Paul Brown, Forrest, or Marvin Lewis for the Bengals coach, I was like, okay, I kind of got to eliminate Paul Brown. Like, it's great. It's awesome. But at the same time, like, and he was a good coach for us.
Yes.
He didn't fucking phone it in.
Yes, he was very good.
But I very much, like, it was just too easy with
I
the
mean,
Browns.
I think their stadium is still named Paul Brown Stadium.
Yeah, well, I mean...
The Bengals.
Yeah, we have I don't know if it's... Take a look.
I have no idea. All I know is that was a choice to make between Browns and Bengals, because I basically had it in my mind. I was not going to put him on both.
Yeah.
And I felt that he had more success in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's exactly my thought process.
Which is a rare sentence to say.
Yeah, weird.
But
to think about.
So the Browns get Paul Brown.
I think the same thing. But yeah, on the Joe Burrow jersey they have and the new jersey they have, they literally have Paul J. Brown on the neck. So and it's Paul J. Brown Stadium. I mean, granted, they are literally they're selling the rights to the name right now.
He is part of the DNA of the Bengals.
Yep.
And listen, sorry Bengals fans, but another Bengals fan even didn't pick him. So
I went for a guy who was more Bengals than a guy who won
with the
championships for a rival.
With a team that's the name of it.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I got nothing against him, and even with the new naming rights of the stadium, it's blank field at Paul J. Brown.
Yeah. All right. So we both got Paul Brown. Who you got a quarterback? This was actually tougher for me than I thought.
Really?
Yes,
no way.
For a very specific reason. I went Otto Graham.
Okay, so did I.
But here's some stuff with Otto Graham. So he's a 5-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 3-time NFL MVP, 3-time NFL champion, 2-time passing yards leader, and 50s All-Decade team, NFL 75th and 100th anniversary teams, and a Hall of Famer.
If you've ever played Madden and thrown 8 touchdowns in a game, you know who Otto Graham is because you've beaten his record or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I struggled with this mostly because, like, the era in which he played, you would basically surpass his numbers in 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Like, his highest mark for passing yards was 2,816. It's just, so it's one of those things where he's clearly dominant for his era, but this was one where I sort of had to gauge, like, how much is the difference in era. Because, again, this is a pre-Super Bowl era. This is a huge difference.
It is a big difference.
So I almost debated Bernie Kosar.
Really?
Just because he was the other really good Browns quarterback, but his numbers in the era he played in is a little more comparable and easily translatable. I went with Otto Graham, though, just because the accomplishments are worth it, and I think that he would translate fine.
I think you figured
but yeah, it was a debate just because of the huge gap in era.
Yeah. And you make a great point there. I didn't even really think about it then because I can't name another single Browns quarterback I would ever say is better than Otto. That is the only thing because of how accomplished he is.
Yeah, definitely.
And granted, you don't even have to look at the stats, just kind of see success here, obviously. But yeah, that was kind of why I looked and I was like, well, who else do I put in if I say, fuck Otto, you played in a bad era, or you played in an era that was focused on running the football. Who else?
The only one I thought was Bernie Kosar because again he was the only other one that was like Pro Bowl or an All Pro in any era for the Browns.
And I sit here and I think Bernie Kosar, Otto Graham. I'm gonna go Otto Graham.
Yeah, that's ultimately what it came down to. Yeah. But it was a question of like I'm aware there was another good Browns quarterback that was a little closer and was a little easier to just picture making that like translation, but yeah, I went Otto Graham ultimately.
Absolutely.
I also went 2 backs for Cleveland.
Okay.
First one, real obvious, Jim Brown.
I only have 1 back, and I went Jim Brown.
Yeah. So 9 Pro Bowls, 8-time first team All Pro, a second team All Pro in there also, 8-time rushing yard leader, 3-time NFL MVP, a 1-time champion, 60s All Decade team, NFL 50th, 75th, and 100th anniversary teams, Hall of Famer. One of, if not the most dominant backs in NFL history. This is a layup.
Imagine having 25 years to be from the 75th, like so many running backs from the 75th anniversary team to the 100th.
From the 50th.
From the 50th.
He went
50th
to 75th, stayed on another 25 to the 100th.
It is crazy.
So he's been on the all-time list for 50 years.
People have had the opportunity to dethrone him for 50 years. Yeah. Hasn't happened. What else do you pick?
He's really, really great.
Yeah.
But I went with I went with two backs.
Okay.
And I did go Nick Chubb.
I don't even blame you, to be honest. I think he's only getting better.
Again, a big part of this comes down to other positions also, and where I think the strength of this team could lie. And I think that the strength of this team, not to mention picking Otto Graham, I've set him up of if we have to run the ball, we are going to have quite literally the best possible chance to do it.
Fair.
So Jim Brown, Nick Chubb, three-time Pro Bowler, all-around back, tough to tackle, really, really great. One of the best in the league today.
Exactly. I was about to say the same thing, of maybe top 5 in the league today.
Yeah. I think he definitely is top 5. Wide receiver, who you got?
I went with Dante Lavelli.
Okay.
40s all decade, Ring of Honor, and Hall of Fame guy. Mm-hmm. Yep, easy peasy.
This is going to be controversial. My number one, I picked somebody who just had one outstanding year.
Hit me with it.
I went Josh Gordon. Specifically 2013 Josh Gordon.
That was when I first was really getting into football. Josh Gordon was fucking awesome.
Listen, that 1 year, he might not have had another great year in his career, and he didn't. But that 1 year for him in Cleveland is the best year a Browns receiver has ever had.
I would have smoked an ounce a day, too, if I had fucking that year. Bro.
Yeah, so, again, one-time Pro Bowler, one-time first-team All-Pro, but that year was a receiving yards leader, and that was 87 receptions, 646 yards, and 9 touchdowns.
Who was the quarterback?
Including a 95-yard touchdown.
Who was the quarterback for that?
That might have been like Jason Campbell.
Oh, my.
Or somebody. No, 2013, Whedon would have still been there.
No way, it was Whedon.
He would have been in his Whedon would have been in his second year.
You're right, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if he started the whole year, but maybe that would have been like Whedon, Brian Hoyer, Jason Campbell, something combination
bad.
Of those ingredients.
Something fucking bad.
So yeah, but he definitely didn't have longevity in Cleveland, but his one peak year is the best year a receiver's had in Cleveland. So I went him at 1. I'm saying we're getting 2013 Josh Gordon.
If you get 2013 Josh Gordon, that's all you need.
Well, listen, we allow people to, you're allowed to put a player who is on your team for 1 year on that roster, but you have them for only as they were in that year.
And he balled out.
That's basically what Josh Gordon was. This is 2013 Josh Gordon, so you got a nasty, nasty wide receiver 1.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about Josh Gordon in that 1 year when I was putting up a lot of these guys who I put on for my wide receivers, since I have 3, obviously.
Yeah.
I have proven guys from a bygone era, basically.
I don't mind. See, listen, this is also something else that needs to be brought up. Part of why I don't have all bygone era guys is I was like, God damn it, I need to have I need to have somebody that is not from the pre-Super Bowl era on this team.
And it's so hard to do that because you're either looking at a guy who proved it to the point of Hall of Fame.
Yep.
70 years ago.
That's my second one.
Or he fucking is a baller in a modern era that was designed to stop ballers.
Yep. So. Who's your second one?
I went with Paul Warfield.
That's my second one also.
Hall of Fame guy, Ring of Honor.
Multiple Pro Bowls and All-Pro, 70s All-Decade team,
Yep.
NFL 100 team.
Yep. If you're on the NFL 100 team, it's worth the shot of maybe thinking of, it might be a wide receiver 2 for us.
So I've got him here and in Miami.
I think I got him for Miami as well.
You didn't.
I didn't have him for Miami.
No, you went the Marks guys and Tyree.
That's right, I did. So yeah, Paul Warfield finally makes it onto my all-time roster.
Overdue, as some would say.
Didn't have to wait too long though.
No, just the next episode.
Yeah.
And then who's your third wide receiver? Because I only went Josh Gordon and Paul Warfield.
I went with Gary Collins.
Okay.
4 seasons of at least 10 tutties. That's all I need.
There you go.
You're giving me 4 years of fucking maybe 50, 60 touchdowns. I'll take it.
There you go.
Fuck yeah.
I think tight end was a layup.
Easy peasy.
Unless you switched it. It's Ozzie Newsome.
I went Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I to be honest with you, I almost wanted to go Jordan Cameron.
No.
But Jordan Cameron had a couple of good years and then went to Miami. And then we never heard of him again.
Yeah, no. Ozzie Newsome, 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first team All-Pro.
80s All-Decade.
4-time second team. Yep, 80s All-Decade. And this was really one of the first tight ends that turned that position into anything more than an extension of the O-line.
Yeah.
He was one of the first ones to really start turning it into a weapon.
Yeah.
So this was an easy choice.
It was a slam dunk.
And
I wanted to bring a modern player on, but tight end was not the move.
No.
Yep.
But this next position is left tackle is also a slam dunk.
Easy peasy.
Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Joe Thomas.
Okay, I was expecting you to meme on me a little bit.
No, not Joe Thomas.
Not with this guy.
Not with this guy. I'll do it with a lot of people. I like Joe Thomas too much.
Hey, he's the man.
Dude, 10-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, 2010s All-Decade team, and he is a shoe-in Hall of Famer when he's eligible.
Absolutely. 11,000 something snaps without getting off the field until finally he gets injured and calls it.
This is one of the greatest tragedies of like the modern NFL is the fact that Joe Thomas was a Cleveland Brown.
He was a Cleveland Brown, and then he retires the year before they make a playoff game.
Even that, he was almost traded to the Broncos the year they won the Super Bowl.
The year we almost got Joe Thomas?
They were going to trade him to the Broncos like in the middle of the 2015 season. But then I think the Broncos... Was it the Broncos or the Browns? I forget what it was. But he was going to be a Bronco the year they won the Super Bowl. And then one of those two teams vetoed the deal.
Oh my! Well, it wasn't Denver. I'll tell you that much.
I think it might have been.
What the fuck are you doing, Denver?
I don't think Denver wanted to trade like what they were asking for. I don't remember exactly what it was. But I just remember that...
Hall of Fame
the Broncos were going to get Joe Thomas.
Some random fucker who is not going to be on the
fucking
team.
It's not like they were asking for Von Miller or anything like that.
No, he's older.
God. But
that pisses me off. I'm glad I didn't know that back then. I am so glad that I'm just now finding out about this when it does not matter at all.
Yeah.
In 2015?
Yeah, the year they won the Super Bowl.
Oh my.
Yeah, Joe. I feel more bad for Joe Thomas than anybody else.
I feel more bad for Drew Lock. Imagine having Joe Thomas fucking blocked.
I think Joe Thomas already retired. He would have retired.
Yep.
I think he retired like 2 years later.
Yep. He retired in 2018?
Yeah. So I think that would have been the tail end of Paxton Lynch, Brock Osweiler debacle.
Paxton Lynch would have, I mean, granted, again, I'm going to fucking roast Kyler for this. I'm going to fucking roast Paxton for it. Excuse me. I almost went on Kyler again.
Well, let's not talk about the Broncos too much here.
No, Paxton Lynch, what an idiot. If you had Joe Thomas, you'd have to watch film.
Yeah. Again, I feel more bad for Joe Thomas because he would have had a
Poor guy, man.
But, I'm still amazing left tackle. Best of like the last 20, 30 years.
Hall of Fame guy when it comes time.
There's very few people who exist in the same stratosphere with Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
So, this was another very, very easy one. Left guard, I got Joe DeLamior. Another repeat, person showing up. He was also on the Bills.
Okay.
In Cleveland, he was a 1-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time All-Pro, and a part of the 70s All-Decade team.
Okay. I went with Gene Hickerson, Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor, 60s All-Decade team.
There you go.
But I think we just went with a guy who's right after.
Pretty much. Center, this is where I sort of drew the line of I needed somebody more modern.
Okay.
Because they have a Hall of Fame center.
Yep, that's who
This is a Hall of Famer who played way back and was also a linebacker. So he would not, in my mind, have the size to play with the rules we're playing with against the players that we're going with.
Okay.
So I went with Alex Mack, who is a 3-time Pro Bowler, a first-team All-Pro, and a 3-time second-team... Alex Mack, 1 second-team All-Pro and 2010's All-Decade team with the Browns.
I mean, man, I don't blame you. I went with the Hall of Fame guy because you see Hall of Fame Ring of Honor, it's just kind of like a done deal for me. But no, actually, I almost think I want to change and go with Alex Mack because I like your thought process there of if we're building this team to run, or in your case, you're building it to run.
I'm building it to run.
And Alex Mack's the guy for that then.
Yeah.
I think.
Right guard, I also went modern. I went Joel Bitonio.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. 4-time Pro Bowl, first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro. I think Wyatt Teller can get on this list also. He just needs more time.
Yeah. I honestly, I put another old-timey guy. Dick Shafrath?
Yeah.
Dick Shafrath?
See, this is just the debate when it comes to the Browns of they've had a lot of good players in their history, but all of them are way back.
Yeah, I think Dick over here absolutely deserves a Hall of Fame nod or something like that. May he rest in peace. Former Ohio State senator, so dude's just an Ohio guy through and through.
There you go.
I like the work ethic. He's the right guy for right guard situation. However, right. I'm big on Joel Bitonio.
Yeah. I went old guy for right tackle because they do deserve to be represented on this list. I also, again, I get frustrated when there's not a good mix of eras on a list like this. I sort of feel the need.
Yep.
But right tackle Mike McCormack, 5-time Pro Bowler, 9-time All-Pro, 2-time NFL champion, and a Hall of Famer.
I like that one. I went with a little bit different. I went for a fun one. I went with Lou Groza.
Okay.
But also, with him being a right tackle, he's also a kicker.
Oh yeah, I remember reading about him. Yeah,
I was like, no, this is too fun.
I remember reading about him because I thought about putting him as a kicker.
I almost wanted to be like, yeah, you can kick if you need to, brother. Like, absolutely. But Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor. They retired 76 for him. 50s All-Decade Team and MVP in 59.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe the body isn't there because absolutely, if he's playing kicker, I can't imagine he's 340. But I mean,
you got a little O-line, my friend.
I got a little bit of an O-line, but here's the thing. I just need Otto to throw it and get it out as quickly as possible to either or hand it off to Jim Brown to the left where Joe Thomas is and let Jim Brown do that.
All right. Yeah, I've just built this thing with the idea of ground and pound.
I do not blame you. I do not
All
blame
right, so moving to the defensive side. My first defensive end is Myles Garrett.
Me too.
Yep. 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first team All-Pro, 1-time second team All-Pro.
One helmet bashing.
One helmet bashing. The best talent the Browns have ever fielded on defense. I think that's not crazy to say. And he will surpass Clay Matthews for the most sacks in Browns history this year unless he's hurt. He's like 3 sacks away.
Is he really?
He's
already that close?
Yes. There's another player that's really close to an all-time sack lead for their team that I'll tell you about that you're going to be shocked by.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. But absolutely, I think Myles Garrett's just a fucking beast.
Yep.
He's
still so young.
He's young as shit, too.
Yeah, like this is a player that this will be the best Browns defender by the time it's done.
I can't believe they didn't bring in Bradley Chubb when they had the opportunity. Granted, Denzel Ward's pretty fucking awesome. So they made the right pick, but I imagine that a disgusting, and granted, maybe Bradley Chubb's a bust at this point, so it wouldn't have worked. But imagine Myles Garrett and another bastard like Jadeveon Clowney when he was there. Is he still back? Did he resign? Did he go back? Or
I believe he did.
Now?
I think he resigned.
Okay, so yeah, I think man, that's only gonna make his job easier. Myles Garrett, and man, he's a beast. It's hard to fight against that.
Oh yeah, that one's easy. Who you got at the first D tackle spot?
I went Jerry Shirk, Depoy in 76. And I figured Depoy at D tackle, doesn't matter what era it is, you're probably just a world record.
I went Michael Dean Perry.
Okay.
5-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first team All-Pro, 1-time second team All-Pro, 3rd all-time in sacks for the Browns from the D tackle spot.
I don't blame you.
And then my second one, I went Bill Willis.
That's who I went with.
3-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first team All-Pro, NFL championship, 40s all-decade team.
Yep.
I'm always a little hesitant of the 40s guys, but
80 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a little hesitant about the guys who played almost a century ago.
It always concerns me, especially because we've said we're playing with 2000s rules.
Yep.
But I decided to go with them.
I think there are some people that, especially like a D tackle situation, like 40, like I don't think granted, excuse me, I don't want to fucking sound stupid, this time. But I think if you were able to kill it the way that you were back then as D tackle, I think you'd be able to make it work today.
I think the only issue is
body size.
Body size and just blocking schemes and stunts are more complicated now.
Well,
that's why we have Paul Brown to catch us up.
Paul Brown.
But so the other D end, I got Jim Houston, who was a 4-time Pro Bowler for the Browns.
Yeah, I got him as middle linebacker somehow. I don't know.
He played linebacker and DN.
I think I moved him to middle linebacker.
He made his Pro Bowls at DN, so that's why I put him there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have him as my middle linebacker. For my other left end, I got Bob Gain. Or not my other left end, my other defensive end. I got Bob Gain. Just a fucking
My two
monster.
left ends.
Yeah, just a monster. My two left ends.
That sounds like the name of the best football poem ever.
Bro, my that right side of that D line that right side of that O line is fucking going through it if we have two left ends. But I got Bob Gain over there. Just the stud from the 70s, I think.
So I only had 2 linebackers, so I went 3 corners.
Okay.
But my first linebacker was really easy. It was Clay Matthews.
Easy.
4-time Pro Bowler, 2nd-team All-Pro, Browns all-time leader in sacks with 62 for now.
Yep.
That will end this year unless Myles Garrett gets hurt.
We'll give him the nod.
This is a very underrated player. This is somebody who's been a fringe Hall of Famer for a long time. Hasn't quite gotten in, but is very much at that level.
Absolutely. I got him right there, too. I got him as my left outside linebacker, that blindside rush. Ring of Honor. I mean, take a look at his family.
I'm gonna have him and Myles Garrett running stunts. The two leading Brown sack artists of all time.
Disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is dirty as shit.
Yep.
I'm right there with you.
All right. So middle linebacker, I went Walt Michaels, 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL champion.
That's my right outside linebacker.
All right.
So.
And then you said your other linebacker is Jim Houston.
Jim Houston, baby.
Yeah. I just moved him to DN because it said that he made his Pro Bowls after the position switch. So that's why I did that.
Yeah.
So cornerback, number 1, I went Hanford Dixon, 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first team All-Pro with the Browns.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Easy peasy.
Cornerback 2, Frank Minifield.
Okay.
4-time Pro Bowler, first team All-Pro, 80s All-Decade team.
That's who I have it too, but I'm going to actually make a projection here who I think is your number 3. Do you want to say him really quick and maybe I'm wrong?
Denzel Ward.
Yeah, that's a projection I'm making.
Yeah. I didn't want to leave him off this because I think that he is too good.
He's too good.
And the other thing, the Browns did not have a third linebacker that absolutely blew me away.
Yeah.
So I thought Denzel Ward would be on here. So that's my third corner.
Yeah.
I really also shout out to Joe Hayden.
Big time. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Browns oddly enough, corner is like
he's 4
of all the positions for the Browns we get at. Corner is just up there for them.
I know it is honestly weird.
Yeah, I'm projecting. I got Denzel Ward 3. I'm projecting that he'll be good. He's still young in his career. Already has 2 Pro Bowls. One of the best young cornerbacks in the league today, and with more time, he could become the best one in Browns history. But he's just not there yet.
Yeah, it's just early, but I think it's absolutely feasible to watch this guy just ball out for him his entire career.
So the way I've got this is you're not going to throw on us, and we're going to keep the ball away from you. That's my strategy for this Browns team. That's like
not a bad one.
That's my whole thing. I'm not going to let you score fast.
I'm not going to let you score fast.
And if you can't do that,
you're going to have to run the ball.
Yeah,
to have any success.
Yep. And then when we get it, we're just going to ground and pound you to death. So
not a bad plan.
Moving on to safety, free safety. I got Tom Darden.
Same.
Pro Bowler, 3-time second team All Pro. He had an NFL interceptions leader with 10, and this was back in like 1978.
Yeah.
And he's the all-time Browns interception leader with 45.
Yep.
So ball hawk from the free safety spot. That was big to me. I need a turnover machine on defense.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think he's the right guy for that position.
Who you got a strong safety?
I got Warren Lahr.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went with Eric Turner.
Okay.
A Pro Bowler and an All-Pro. I considered a few people. Deshaun Gibson had some good years in Cleveland, and so did T.J. Ward. But
man, shout out T.J. Ward.
Yeah, but they just didn't hit. They didn't hit the All-Pro level. So yeah. I figured again, if Josh Gordon can be included for one great year from the safety can also be included. So that's what I went with.
Your first team All-Pro in 1 year is not bad at all. So I mean, you're getting a first team safety.
Yep.
I went with Warren Lahr, just a little bit more proven guy, Cleveland guy that people have already kind of had that context with. Unfortunately, I forgot to write down stats or accolades for this guy. So you're just going to have to trust me on this one, that absolutely he was a good corner or a good strong safety for the Browns and for a good amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, I considered doing the Gibson and Ward pairing because they were more modern safeties, and I think DB in particular, that's important.
Yeah,
But I went with the dudes that were just, that had the numbers to back it. So kicker...
Safeties I'm fine with dipping a little bit further back in. Corners, I do like to have at least one guy who's proven it in this
I almost feel better about corners because if you just man them up, it's simple.
You say that, but we're going to be talking about the Steelers soon.
Yeah, but listen, that's a little different than almost anything. We're not going to talk about the Steelers yet. All right, so kicker, who you got? I got Phil Dawson.
Phil Dawson.
Yep, highest field goal percentage in Brown history. Punter, I went Gary Collins.
I went Don Cockcroft. Highest average.
There you go. I went with Gary Collins because 3-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro,
yep.
60s All-Decade team. Also played wide receiver and tied for the league lead in touchdowns. So I put him in here for his versatility. God forbid somebody gets hurt. We're throwing the punter out there, damn it.
Hey, fuck it. That's why I strictly put in a punter who was a wide receiver for the Bengals.
Well, there you go.
I'm right there with you.
There you go. And then kick returner, punt returner, Josh Cribbs.
Same.
Yep.
2000s all-decade team.
Yep. Pro Bowler, All-Pro.
Yep.
Really, really good.
Guest star on the league, which is how I ever learned about the guy.
There we go. All right. So now moving on from Browntown, as they call it.
The toilet?
Yeah, as the kids say. We're going to Baltimore.
Yes, sir.
Now, this one, I just want to talk about this. This is more of an indictment on the Bengals and the Browns.
Okay.
This franchise has only been around for like 25, 30 years.
Sure.
And this team already has like way more consistently great players.
They do know how to draft over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it shocked me when I found out the Bengals only have one Hall of Famer.
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. Same.
I'm not saying it's insult like towards the Bengals. Like I'm saying, it genuinely shocked me.
Yeah,
that the Bengals are like that old of a franchise,
and
it's just Munoz.
And that was the crazy thing for me is I kept going back on the Bengals, which is why it took the Bengals actually the longest. I went back because I was like,
it took me the longest.
Bengals Hall of Famers? I was like, are we forgetting to talk about the Hall of Famers? And then I'm like, no, it's...
Well, dude, that's what I did because I was going through. I'm like, damn it, I've been mentioning Hall of Fame for everybody. So I went back through. I'm like, hold on.
Exactly. I did the same thing. And especially because, again, like I said, I went Steelers first. So I went from a team loaded with a bunch of guys who belong in the Hall. And then I go to my fucking team.
Your new team.
And I'm going to just call it my team. I'm officially here. I'm never leaving. Absolutely. Look at that.
There you go. He's got tigers on his shirt.
I spent money on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a little bit shocked.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely, granted, there is a large path of the future for us to define our team.
Absolutely, but I'm saying it just for this reason. Going into this,
yeah,
I don't know where I expected Baltimore to land.
Okay.
But I expected that they would be more competitive. Like, I expected that they would be closer to Cincy and Cleveland and something like that. But in reality, they seem to stray above those two and fire up. But that said, let's get into this. I think head coach is really easy. It's John Harbaugh.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. Super Bowl champ and coach of the year in Baltimore, along with the longest tenure Ravens history that makes him really, really easy to pick. He coached Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson to great success. Those two quarterbacks could not be more opposite.
Wildly different.
And he's molded his team in a lot of different ways, whether it be offensively strong, like it was in Lamar's MVP year, defensively strong. Like, he's just coached a bunch of teams in a bunch of different ways. So no matter situation, John Harbaugh is a good option.
He's the guy, yeah.
Yeah. So quarterback, I went Lamar Jackson. Okay. 2-time Pro Bowls, a first-team All-Pro, an MVP, a human joystick that is really a unique weapon.
Okay.
And this team, the whole rest of this team has been built specifically with him in mind.
I go with Lamar, too. I think he just...
You didn't want to go with Fluco, huh?
Well, I really did. I love Flacco. One of the best postseasons in NFL history with his stats in the 2012 season.
I went to that Broncos game. That was the first NFL game I ever went to.
Bro, I cried for 20 minutes.
Really?
My mom and dad came upstairs.
I cried about a month later.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I remember watching that game, and I can still very much recall a lot of that double overtime game.
I remember how cold it was.
Well, fair enough.
You want to know what else I remember? Raheem Moore just...
Yep. I see it in my nightmares even now, even though I'm no longer a fan.
Raheem Moore is going to be on the Broncos all-time team for sure.
He's going to be on the Ravens all-time team at this point.
Honorable mention to Raheem Moore.
Oh, my God. They couldn't do it without him.
No.
But, no, absolutely. I think the way the team is built, I don't have wide receivers out here who are going to go out there and give Joe Flacco exactly what he needs to do well with this team. Lamar, I think the Ravens are already focused on being a run-based team with Lamar right now. I think give them the best roster they've ever had, and they'll still be more focused on playing.
And that is exactly what it is. So this team, much like Cleveland, I'm going two backs.
Okay.
So the first one, I've got Jamal Lewis, a Pro Bowler, a first-team All-Pro, a Super Bowl champion, 2000 All-Decades team, 5 years of at least 1,000 rushing yards, including a season with 2,066 rushing yards. And that is just, I mean, that speaks for itself. And then the second one, I've got Ray Rice. Listen, I understand.
Don't tell me, tell them.
I understand everything that goes on with Ray Rice. But Ray Rice, in his day, was a very good running back.
Absolutely.
And Lamar Jackson is lightning, and this is thunder. This is a human bowling ball who really packs a punch. And he brings 5,000 yard rushing yard seasons. 5,000 yard rushing yard seasons also. We have 3 very distinct runners, and all of them have rushed for 1,000 yards. So we have 3,000 yards in the backfield every time we step out there.
It is terrifying and sure when you got a class of world beaters like those guys.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
No, I'm with you. This is the first time I got 2 running backs on my team. I genuinely do not trust Lamar throwing the ball, but why even throw it at this point?
I trust him to an extent, but I also think, let it also be mentioned here, I don't distrust Lamar throwing the ball.
Okay.
The weakest position all time for the Ravens has been wide receiver.
Yep.
So
always.
When I started going through this, I was like, okay, we're gonna have a few standouts, I'm sure. Not really. The Ravens, if you think of their top receivers, the Ravens haven't really even had a Pro Bowler play wide receiver.
Yeah.
So they've had a lot of great running backs, though. So on top of the fact I was picking Lamar Jackson, that was just the strength of the Ravens all time.
I mean, the kind of options you can run with that is
it's crazy.
It's
We're going to have a nasty pistol offense.
Absolutely.
But so wide receiver, the first one I went with was Steve Smith. There was a lot of ways I could have gone here.
Okay.
But Steve Smith, he was only in Baltimore a short time, but he was a 1,000-yard receiver.
Okay.
And I think just as an attitude guy and as a leader, it's the type of thing the Ravens need.
Okay.
A really, really tough attitude. And there was a few guys you could have gone with. I thought about Anquan Bolden in this spot, but Steve Smith's production was greater than Anquan Bolden's in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I went with that.
I don't blame you. He showed up to Baltimore and was a stud, even though it was for a short period of time and he was on.
Then he hurt himself,
old.
but
when he was doing what he was doing, he was effective with it.
Yep. And then my second one is Torrey Smith, Super Bowl champ, and this was picked for a very specific reason. We got a lot of dudes focused on running the ball. Torrey Smith was a blazer. So the entire purpose of Torrey Smith being on this team is he's just going to open up the field. They're going to have to account for the fact that he can run by you and deal with that.
There's also the play action aspect of it.
Yep.
He could absolutely. He doesn't need to be a complete stud.
Yeah.
But when you're so focused on stopping 3 different running backs and have to go through your reads to make sure, first of all, is this a fucking run or a play action?
Is it a run or is it a triple play action?
Or is it triple play action? Or is it an option? There's so much that could go down. I think you don't need Torrey Smith to be a world beater.
No.
But, again.
Or a wife beater.
But absolutely, I think the speed that he brings, as long as he can just catch the ball when he's open, go for it.
Listen, you can be a one-trick pony, just do the one trick, and that's why he's here. He's here to open up everything else for the run game and keep them honest when we throw a bomb. Yeah.
My only rule is if you're going to be the one-trick pony, you got to do that one trick pretty
exactly. Well. So, and then tight end. Honestly, this is our best receiving weapon.
100%.
It's Mark Andrews.
Yeah, absolutely.
2-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro. He's the most reliable target in this offense. He is familiar with Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson's familiar with him.
And that's all you need in this situation. Because if you need 5 yards, or if you need Lamar to make a throw that you're scared he's going to not hit, Mark Andrews 5 to 15 yards.
Yep.
Money.
We're doing great.
Money.
Run him right underneath Torrey Smith clearing something. We're cool.
Money.
And then, so left tackle. This is a really good one.
Yeah.
Jonathan Ogden, 11-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time second-team All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, 2000s All-Decade team, NFL 100 team, and a Hall of Famer. Jonathan Ogden is one of the best left tackles ever. This is somebody who's in that category with Joe Thomas.
Yeah, there's no...
And Munoz, honestly. Yeah, those are these teams all have somebody at that spot.
At that left tackle position for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I got no complaints about that one.
Yeah. Left guard, I went Kelechi Osemele.
Yep.
He won a Super Bowl in Baltimore. He was just entering his prime before he left to go to the Raiders. But in his final year there, he was one of the best in the league. And I'm sliding him in at left guard.
Yeah, same. The Ravens know how to build an O-line for sure.
All right. Center, I got Matt Burke. Now, most of his prime was spent in Minnesota, but when he came to Baltimore, he immediately stabilized that line and was a road grader for Ray Rice and was the centerpiece on that O-line when they won the Super Bowl in 2012. So he takes that spot at center.
Unfortunately, I don't have another name, so we're rolling with the same guy.
We are once again in agreement.
We are in agreement one more time. I think the rest of our line's probably going to look the same, but...
Well, right guard's really easy. Marshall Yanda.
Yeah.
8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time second-team All-Pro, another 2010 All-Decades guy, another Super Bowl champ. Not in the Hall of Fame yet, but as soon as he's eligible, he will be in.
Absolutely, I think
so,
when that happens...
Right there, Baltimore has more Hall of Famers on the O-line than Cincinnati.
It's pretty fucked up.
I'm just saying.
It's pretty fucked up, but... no, it is a... man, if you're building a team to run, this is the O-line I want to have.
Yep. And then...
Stanley, right tackle, too?
Yep. Their current left tackle, really young, was hurt last year, but really good the year before that. Blossoming into a really good player. So Ronnie Stanley at right tackle.
Yep.
Now, on to what the Baltimore Ravens have always prided themselves in, defense.
Absolutely.
So, at the first DN spot, I got Michael McCrary, 2-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champion, 3rd all-time in sacks for the Baltimore Ravens.
It's a slam dunk.
Yep. A little less on the flashy side with this first one, but very, very solid.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about it.
And I went with only 3 linemen here, so I'm going 4 backers.
Okay.
And D tackle, Haloti Ngata. 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, and a Super Bowl champ. Unique athlete. Injury sort of robbed him towards the end, but he had a really great career. This was the dude that tracked down RG3 down the field and initially hurt his knee, but just like...
Poor guy.
I'm not talking about the injury, but the fact that Haloti Ngata was able to track down RG3 speaks to the type of athlete he is. Yeah. So Haloti Ngata is that D tackle.
Yep.
My other D end is Elvis Dumervil.
Okay.
Wasn't in Baltimore a long time, but 2-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro. Dumervil's peak in Baltimore was 17 sacks, and that is the Ravens' single-season record. Okay. So I went with him.
I'm a big Elvis Dumervil guy.
I bet you are. You knew the old fax machine messed it up for the Broncos, but
it's definitely a bummer for sure. But he was absolutely one of those guys where, like, even after he left us to go to the Ravens, he was still great.
Who you got at that first outside linebacker spot?
Terrell Suggs, dude.
Natural. T-Sizzle.
Yeah, dude. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there you go.
7 Pro Bowls, first team All-Pro, first second team All-Pro, or 1 second team All-Pro, excuse me. Super Bowl champion, DPOY. We always talk about our DPOYs. We love our DPOYs here on this channel. Absolutely. If you win DPOY, you're on this roster, basically. All-time leader in sacks, and I think once we all are said and done in a couple of years, absolutely, he'll have his bust in the fame.
I'm not sure he will. I think it's possible. Yeah, because he had, like, if I look at this,
Ravens legend.
It's like, yeah, but he had 1 All-Pro, he had 2 All-Pro teams, and the Defensive Player of the Year thing. It's just like
7 Pro Bowls too, though.
I know. It's just like, for some reason, I don't even know. It might just be my personal thing. Where, like, for some reason, I thought Terrell Suggs was like more like acclaimed and decorated. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But as I was going through looking at the All Pros, I was like, huh. Was he like a Hall of Famer? But I personally would say yes.
Especially in this modern era where the league's focus more on offense than defense.
And now if you want to talk about a really, 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 really easy one, I wonder who middle linebacker 1 is. He's a killer.
Who they have? I was going to say, who they have right now killing it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, listen, no need to beat around the bush anymore. Ray Lewis.
Yeah, Ray Lewis.
13 Pro Bowls. 7-time first-team All-Pro. 3-time second-team All-Pro. 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Super Bowl MVP. 2000s All-Decade Team. NFL 100 Team. Hall of Famer. Ray Lewis, that guy, that is the Baltimore Ravens. And
I think it's fair to say without him, maybe they don't even have any rings.
No, I think that's very fair.
Yeah.
And I would say that is the best middle linebacker that's ever played.
Really?
There's a lot of people, you can argue some guys. I think Ray Lewis has a very, very strong case for it, and I would lean that way.
Killer instinct.
Some of that might be biased because I watched him play.
Fair.
But I can't recall a better linebacker.
Well, he's killer instinct out here, so.
There you go. Continuing on, at the other middle linebacker spot, I got C.J. Mosley.
Okay, me too.
4-time Pro Bowler, 4-time second-team All-Pro, the successor to Ray Lewis. Wasn't Ray Lewis. Nobody is.
No one can be.
But forget his time with the Jets. His time in Baltimore was extremely, extremely prosperous. And it deserves to be on here for the Ravens.
Absolutely. No, he's a stud, man. It sucks that it's not working out for the Jets. Injuries and the Jets.
And the Jets.
But absolutely, I think like watching C.J. Mosley leave the Ravens as a Broncos fan at the time, I was like, thank God, like because I was very high on him. I think he could have done well for the Jets.
I would never recommend you sign with the Jets.
But that's the thing is that like if you're chasing the money and you're gonna end up on the Jets, like that's a curse. That's a curse.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Who you got at the other outside backer spot?
Peter Boulware, 4-time Pro Bowler, 1 second-team All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, second in sacks in Ravens history. So this linebacker core, I mean, there's a reason why I didn't give a shit about the second D tackle. I had to go with this guy.
I went 4 backers. I went 4 backers because all 4 of them are Pro Bowlers and All Pros.
And what 3? Like 2 of them are Hall of Famers, or one of them's a Hall of Famer. One of them.
Ray's already in. I think Suggs will get in.
Suggs gets in. And
Mosley might have been on track had he stayed in Baltimore, but didn't.
He should have stayed. He should have stayed.
And but Boulware is not a Hall of Famer, but was extremely productive in his time.
Yep. Right there with you. So, I mean,
corner. Corner, I've decided to project out. You might have flipped these two,
okay.
But corner, I projected out, and I got Marlon Humphrey.
Okay.
2-time Pro Bowl, 1-time first-team All-Pro already. He led the NFL in forced fumbles.
Okay.
He's thrived in his young career, and as he continues on, I think he can surpass everybody, become the best in Ravens history.
Okay.
The Ravens cornerbacks tend to hover somewhere around 4 Pro Bowls, 3 to 4. And I think with him having 2 already and an All-Pro team, he'll surpass him.
Absolutely. Honest to God, he's very good. That was a great pick, and he's been a guy that they've not had to worry about that side.
No, even though he wears a ugly number for a corner.
Which one does he wear again?
44.
Oh, that's right.
I don't like it.
For some reason, I thought he was 22.
No, that's Marcus Peters.
That's what I'm thinking of. Marcus Peters is 22. Yeah, 44. I love for a safety. I love even more for a linebacker.
I don't even like it for that. I like it only for like a fullback.
44 for a fullback's good. If I got to put it on a linebacker, I'll take it for a left outside linebacker.
I don't even like numbers in the 40s for linebackers.
I like the right outside linebacker and the left outside linebacker. Like, granted, Shaq Barrett 48.
I like numbers in the 50s and 90s.
I don't like linebacker numbers in the 90s. I save that for D-line.
I like outside backers to have 90s.
See, that's old school.
Yeah. That's old school. I don't even like this whole thing of like people wearing the single digit numbers at these other positions. I don't even know why. I think it really part of it's probably just it's been what I'm used to. But like I don't know. I don't like seeing corners wearing
5.
Yeah. I'm like 6. like the best corner numbers will forever be 21, 24, 25. Stuff like that.
Well, the reason it works in college is because you have duplicate numbers. You have a guy on defense who's 36 and a running back who's 36. But, like, in the NFL, like, Brady made a great point when he had a whole thing. He's like, bro, if you have 3 quarterbacks on your roster, you have 7 wide receivers, and you have 4 tight ends, there is 14 numbers. If all those guys, tight ends technically, they don't get the number thing, right? They can't go 8 or something like that. No, because Kyle Pitts is 8.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts was 8.
So Kyle Pitts, so absolutely. It gets you in a situation where, at a certain point, kickers who are fucking boned and can only do 1 through 19, punters and kickers can only do 1 through 19, you can have 20 people on your roster who are 1 through 20, none of them being fucking kickers.
Yeah, I get it.
And granted, I'm not
listen, Marlon Humphrey's just the opposite end of it, where it's like he picked the number with the least amount of swag you could ever wear as a corner.
And that's
but at least he's good.
The branding's horrible, but yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah. So, did you have him as your first or second, or did you have him at all?
I have him at 2. Yeah, I definitely had to have him because I needed a more modern guy, specifically in the 2000s that we're trying to create, and we have a great D line here. So honestly, and middle linebacker and linebackers in general.
The front seven's cooking.
The front 7 is insane. So I think Marlon Humphrey
safety ain't too shabby either.
Yeah, we'll get there. I think it's pretty obvious who we're fucking talking about, but absolutely, I think Marlon Humphrey. I have his 2.
So who you got at 1 then?
Chris McAllister.
Okay, that's my 2.
Okay.
So yeah, we got the same combination, just flipped. Talk about Chris McAllister.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about him. He's got 3 Pro Bowls, first team All-Pro, 1 second team All-Pro, and Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
That's just who we're looking for here. Our D-line is good enough that we need a guy 2 guys who are proven to just hold down the fort for 2 seconds for one of these 7 guys to go sack the guy. So I think if that's the position, that's the position that we're in, Chris McAllister. I mean, with the Pro Bowls, like we said, the whole Ravens are kind of built on corners. The corners have always been solid pieces, never their focal points. Here's another example of never really the focal point, but hey, he's got a ring and he played well for him.
I honestly think he could get bumped from this list if Marcus Peters comes back healthy.
I need Marcus Peters to ball out for them for another year.
Yep, me too.
I don't think Marcus Peters is bad. That's why the only reason I'm not putting him on this list is because I was like, I'll go with the guy who won.
It's the injuries.
Yeah.
For me, it's the injuries and the fact that he was coming off some rough years in LA.
Yeah, Marcus Peters has already been a Chief. He's been in LA. He's been a Ram, and now he is a Raven, and he got injured. So it's like, well, fuck, I haven't seen this guy.
He's played well. He played well the first year in Baltimore.
True.
So I think Baltimore also just fits him better. But, I mean...
he belongs in Baltimore.
As of right now, Chris McAllister has the other corner spot for me. Now...
I was going to say Marcus Peters, but I need to see more.
Fair enough. All right. Now, the other legend on this defense...
Easy peasy.
Ed Reed.
Oh, 100%.
9-time Pro Bowl. Yep, 9 Pro Bowls, 5 first-team All-Pros.
Yep.
3-time second-team All-Pro, a Defensive Player of the Year himself, Super Bowl champion, 3-time NFL interception leader, 2000s All-Decade Team, NFL 100 Team, Hall of Famer. He is, at best, the second best safety of all time, and at worst, the 3rd best safety of all time.
Yeah.
But no matter what, an absolute ball hawk.
Big
and
hits.
Reed, if there was nobody else in this secondary, Ed Reed would make it dangerous.
Big hits. Ball hawk, could do it all kind of guy. You gotta love it. Ed Reed was terrifying. I remember there's a whole... Oh,
there are 3 safeties that are at like the top of every list, and you can pretty much order them however you want. Generally, number 1 is set and 2 and 3 flip.
Yep.
But Ed Reed is one of those 3.
Absolutely, and well earned.
Yep.
It's not bullshit that he's there.
No, he earned every single bit of it.
Absolutely.
And Ed Reed, legend, enough said. Ed Reed behind Ray Lewis. Yeah, I mean, we could shower accolades on Ed Reed, Ray Lewis.
Ravens fans who are watching this, you want us to just keep dick sucking him, or like, do you get it? Like,
yeah, do you get it? Ed Reed's really fucking good.
Ed Reed, best.
I mean, Ed Reed is the only player that like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady raved about at like no end as a free safety.
Peyton Manning was nervous of.
Yeah, at the free safety spot, you'd be hard pressed to ever do better than Ed Reed. So. That was an easy one. Strong safety, I went Rod Woodson, who, even though he was at the end of his career when he got to Baltimore and he was switching from corner to safety, he was a 3-time Pro Bowler, a second-team All-Pro. He led the NFL in interceptions once, a Super Bowl champ. He's a Hall of Famer himself. His prime was in Pittsburgh, but he was a high-quality safety in Baltimore, and he would pair really nice with Ed Reed. And the rest is defense. And that Ed Reed would flow. He sort of flows and does some stuff that's a little unique.
Yeah.
But Rod Woodson is very mentally sound.
Yeah.
And would have everything else lined up. So even if Ed Reed guessed wrong, it would all still be lined up.
And exactly, and that's what honestly what I like his mentality. Big veteran, knows what he's talking about. Been in the league, seen it a long time. This is a guy who, making that change to strong safety, even though it's a little bit of a weaker kind of like, he wasn't the guy for a long time or anything for him.
I could have put Weddle here.
I thought about it. I honestly thought about it.
Yeah, that was the only other guy I thought about.
I thought about Weddle, but I think Rod Woodson, the brain he brings to the rest of his defense.
And I'll say this: I think they drafted 2 guys this year that could get on here. I think that Kyle Hamilton could take that other safety spot. Really?
Fuck Kyle Hamilton. It's a reach.
Oh, he's a reach. And then Linderbaum at center could take Matt Burke's spot on here.
That shit.
So they got Hamilton and Linderbaum, and I think those two guys could both end up on this team in a few years.
Both of those are incredible picks. It's so
leave it to Baltimore, right?
Baltimore nailed that draft. That was the worst part is watching that draft and seeing Baltimore nail those picks. I was like, fuck.
See, and that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Baltimore, even though they haven't been around as long, they have way better players than
they're a well put together franchise.
They're just like run well.
Yep.
But so yeah, Rod Woodson there. Kicker.
Linderbaum is a move as hell. I still can't get over that one.
Yep.
That one sucks for me, but
and then kicker. This one's really, really easy.
Super easy.
Tucker.
Yep.
5-time Pro Bowler, 5-time First Team All Pro, 2-time Second Team All Pro, 2010's All Decade Team,
Yep.
Super Bowl champ. He holds multiple NFL records, including longest field goal, 66 yards,
Rest in peace,
and the most accurate kicker ever at 91.1% for his career. Only kicker who even approaches the territory of Adam Vinatieri.
I agree. I think it sucks because I don't want to give him any credit as someone who kicks footballs used to. As someone who used to kick footballs, it was more of a hate him because I ain't him kind of situation. Like would have loved to be that guy, best in the world at what I do, but obviously not. So putting away a little bit of this like hate that I have for his ego and everything, because absolutely,
he's earned it.
Bro, I'd have the same ego. Like I got the same ego now, and I haven't done anything. But like, absolutely. There's really like, if there was going to be a kicker for the past 10 years to represent the NFL on the decade team, it's got to be this guy.
Yep. And then punter got Sam Cook, highest average punt and punts inside the 20 again. I think field position thing with punter is the most important in something like this. So that's why Sam Cook is on here.
Yep.
Then kick returner, punt returner, you should remember this guy as well, Jacoby Jones. Highest return average in punt return and kick return in Ravens history.
Yep.
Dynamic return man and his time there, always a threat. Listen, we both would remember he returned a kick in the Super Bowl against my team.
Yeah.
We both have reason. You remember the touchdown catch. I remember a kickoff return.
He also had some great returns against us in that game as well. He was he honest to God. I remember because I had not heard much about Jacoby Jones until that game.
No one had.
No one had. And then when I was watching Jacoby Jones tear up on special teams and then destroy Raheem Moore, I was like, bro, who is this guy?
Who's wearing 12?
I was like, who the fuck is this guy doing what he's doing?
What's with people wearing 12 messing with the Broncos?
It's a fucking piece of shit. But
yeah, so that'll wrap up Baltimore.
Thank God, I'm so happy to be out of here.
Now, okay. Now this, I knew coming into this project, this was going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Waiting for this one?
I've been waiting to do Pittsburgh for a minute. So this is the first one where legitimately elite players are left off.
Let's get it, Pittsburgh.
And there's just nothing you can do about it.
There multiple times.
And you'll find that this is a team I projected for way less than I would for other ones. Because you have to understand, the projection for Pittsburgh, you have to be able to hit Hall of Fame as your projection. Otherwise, you can't get on. So all the guys that I've got on here are like, you have to be a multi-time All-Pro already.
Absolutely. You got to either be a stud who is proven and is just going to be a stud for the next 10 years, or you need to be
great
off this fucking list.
Yeah. So Pittsburgh, here we go.
Let's do it.
Who'd you put a head coach?
I went Chuck Noll, Super Bowl guy.
I don't mind that at all.
However, I know who you went with.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you. It was a tough decision between both.
Legit. There are 3 that you could go for that are all Super Bowl champs and all winners.
Yeah.
Noel, Cowher, Tomlin.
Yeah.
You went Noel.
I went Noel.
I went Tomlin.
Yep.
I can't hate you either way.
And I'm right there with you of like, bro, I'm not even mad at you. Like,
no,
I genuinely...
He had an option that he picked over somebody who's never had a losing year.
Yeah.
And who is a Super Bowl champion, has been to Super Bowls in like there's too many elite coaches.
What more do you want us to say? Dude?
Yeah. Noel won the first couple Super Bowls, Cowher won another, then Tomlin did and got them back to a 7th one as well.
Noel won 4. Tomlin's gone to 2 and won 1.
Yeah.
And he managed an entire locker room that had both Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. While creating a consistently great Steelers team.
Yep.
You could go either way.
I don't have any issue with.
You could go either fucking way.
If you picked anything other than Cowher, Knoll, and Tomlin, I might have a question. But those three are all fine options.
And shout out the Steelers for literally just like
they hold on to dudes.
Holy fuck!
But again, here's what we're talking about with them. This is why them and Baltimore compete for this division most of the time.
Yep.
Those two organizations are just so damn sound.
Yep.
Like they're both like they're built on like the Bengals and the Browns. I'm sorry, but more than anything else, their foundation is like quicksand. The Ravens and the Steelers are like granite. Like they don't budge, and it always works because they know what the hell they're dealing with. Man, it shows here. But yes, I got Mike Tomlin.
Look, yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's very that's why the rivalry has always been Steelers Ravens.
Yep.
You don't hear about Browns Steelers. You don't hear about Browns Bengals.
This is why I demanded we started off in Ohio because I kind of wanted to just build.
It was a good call. It was a good call.
Not to mention, if we started with this one, everything after
would be disappointing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, 100%. I'm with you. I think both of them have that franchise built on granite. That's a good way of putting it. I always tell in my last job, I told a lot of people, hey, you don't want to build your house on a beach without a solid foundation.
Yep.
Because without that foundation, it's just gonna sink into the fucking sand.
The Bengals and the Browns just built on the sand.
And it very is that way. It very clearly is that way. But I am really quickly going to advocate for my Bengals and say we're on the up and up. Not going to be the case anymore. Okay.
I hope you're right for your sake. I'm just saying historically, those two are a cut above.
The Browns have proven that they are still that fucking
They absolutely are. But, okay. Now moving on from head coach.
Okay.
There's also two options at quarterback that either way you're not wrong.
Yep.
I went Big Ben. Okay. I went Big Ben because he's from the more pass-heavy era.
Yep.
And he plays... But Big Ben his numbers are better.
Yep.
He was asked to do just as much as Bradshaw, obviously, is the other one.
Right from the get-go.
He won 2 Super Bowls, went to 3 as well. The Super Bowl, a lot of the judging on which one you're going to pick comes down to how much you value who won how many Super Bowls.
It's true.
I think something needs to be said for the fact that the Steelers and Roethlisberger were playing in the Brady era. And Brady, Manning. It was basically, if it wasn't Brady or Manning, though, who won the AFC, it was Ben Roethlisberger.
Yep.
So he could hold his own with those guys, even if he wasn't quite that level. But I believe he is better than Terry Bradshaw.
I think mechanically he's a better quarterback than Terry. I think Terry absolutely, he did well for what he did, and he was a talent for his era.
Yep.
Like, so he was doing, like, we could have the conversation of, I brought this up the last time we talked about this, of the whole modern era. Well, Troy Aikman fucking sucked.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Troy Aikman blew away the world in a game that was back then. Now you compare him to fucking Mahomes out here, who's not winning MVP, throwing 45 touchdowns in a year.
Yeah.
And you're just like, bro, what the fuck? So, no, I'm right there with you. I think for the 2000s league that we're creating here, with the rules we're playing with and everything, I want Big Ben in that situation because, first of all, he's already fucking done it.
He played in that situation.
He played in that
He won a Super Bowl and went to... He won 2 Super Bowls in the 2000s.
Yeah, so...
but, here's the other thing. Bradshaw's in the Hall of Fame. Big Ben just retired. Big Ben will be in the Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah.
So this was a Hall of Famer at quarterback.
Yeah, I prefer Ben because of the modern, but absolutely, if this was a conversation, if you had gone Terry and you're like, bro, I'm going Terry 1-4, I would be like, bro,
nope.
Don't blame you.
Yep. And then, again, another position with options. I went 1 running back. I think that the options are pretty clear. Yeah. You can go...
There's 2.
Some people would put a third.
Okay.
But for the most part, it would be either the Bus, Franco Harris, or Le'Veon Bell. If you want to pick somebody who just peaked. Yeah. I went Franco Harris.
I went Jerome Bettis.
Fair enough.
Yep.
I went Franco Harris because 9-time Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, 4-time champ, Hall of Famer. I think he was more versatile than the Bus.
Sure.
And that is evidenced in the Immaculate Reception.
Absolutely.
So that's the big part of it where I picked...
12,000 yards.
Yep.
Too.
And then so I wrote here because I had to write it down for myself while I was picking him over these other 2. He beats Le'Veon for consistency and longevity and just like stabilization as a player.
Yeah.
And he beats the bus for versatility. So that's why I went with him.
I went with Bettis just because Big Ben and Bettis already did it once. Let's go do it again.
All right.
But also at the same time, like what I'm looking for, especially because you have like this is a different situation than the Browns and the Ravens.
Yes.
Now that we've got Ben,
We can throw.
I'm gonna throw the fucking ball. Like I'm gonna let Ben do. Yeah, I'm gonna let Ben do the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
And what do I need from Bettis? Get me 5 yards. Get me 5 yards.
Run straight at Ray Lewis.
Run straight at Ray Lewis. Look him dead in the eye. Let him know it's coming.
Honestly,
and get 5 yards.
That's a collision. But all right, so
that would be interesting.
So you got they've done it. So you got Harris.
Today. Yeah.
You've got Bettis. I've got Harris. Wide receiver 1. I went AB.
Yeah?
Listen.
I have Miss 3.
Okay, here's why. 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first team All Pro, 1-time second team All Pro, 2-time receiving yards leader, 2-time receptions leader, receiving touchdowns leader, 2010's All Decade Team, Hall of Fame talent and resume, and he's the only receiver that's had a 5-year run that matched or was better than Antonio Brown's is Jerry Rice. So when that is the name that your prime is next to,
I want you on my roster.
That's your wide receiver 1. So that's what I did.
That's fair. I put him as 3.
I understand the personality stuff. I'm just saying, as a wide receiver, this is the best receiver that's played in Pittsburgh.
You didn't put on the stats one time quitting in the middle of a football game for
that
the
wasn't
Buccaneers.
Well, that wasn't in Pittsburgh.
True. He only quit on the team after during a playoff game. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It didn't show up for week 17 and then expected to play, and then did not get to play.
Yeah, but listen, he's the best receiver that's played for Pittsburgh.
He's a fucking idiot, but hey, sometimes dumbasses play great ball.
Yep.
And he's a great example of that. I have him as my 3rd because I gave John Stallworth the 1. He's the leading receiver in.
He's the man that I left off this list.
That is. I left off Lynn Swann. Because
Here,
like
real quick, go 1 through 3, then we'll talk.
Cool. Got John Stallworth, Hines Ward, and AB.
Okay.
So you left off one guy.
I went AB, Hines Ward, Lynn Swann.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And granted, I think
again there are Hall of Famers being left off.
I think that's
but good. Here's why. So you touched AB. Mm-hmm. We both have Hines Ward.
Yep.
This guy he embodies like the spirit of Pittsburgh beyond the talent in terms of like this part of the reason why I had like Steve Smith on the Ravens. Hines Ward is a much more productive version of that for the Steelers.
Yep.
4 Pro Bowls.
Sucks he's not gonna
3-time second team All Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ. He was tough as hell. He broke people's jaw. He broke a Bengal's jaw with a block.
I gotta give it to him. Man.
I'm just saying, like again, sorry, it keeps coming back to like the Bengals and the Browns, but like Hines Ward breaks your face when he blocks
Hines
you.
Ward will fucking break your face, man. Like, absolutely.
And then Stallworth or Lynn Swann, it could have been either, but I went with Lynn Swann just out of taste, I guess. Sure. Like they're both good. I just picked Lynn Swann.
Sure. No, I went John Stallworth because I like we got the AB, we got Hines Ward. Give me a guy who can just, a big-bodied guy. That catch that he had over the shoulder in the Super Bowl was kind of that real defining moment where I'm like, yeah, I kind of want him going to Ben. And not only do, give him John Stallworth, but then also his 2 guys in Hines Ward and in fucking AB.
Yeah.
Back when AB and him were not hating each other. And absolutely, I think Big Ben, especially with the O-line we're about to fucking talk about, that he's going to have all day.
Yep.
And he's going to have guys open.
Well, let's not forget about tight end. I went Heath Miller.
Same.
2-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Yep.
And this should be noted that in the mix of all those receivers we just talked about, in Steelers history, Heath Miller is 3rd in receptions all time and 4th in receiving yards in Steelers history. He's a top 5 receiver in Steelers history.
And that's crazy because of all these fucking receivers.
So that's weapons for days.
Yeah, I to be honest, that's why I brought in Bettis, because I was like, bro, I'm not gonna have Franco Harris running the ball effectively.
I'm gonna have him doing everything.
I love it, but I got Heath himself, man. He's just a stud.
Yeah,
Heath Barr.
All right, so then left tackle. Now tackle is the only spot where the Steelers don't really have like Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
So left tackle, I went Marvel Smith. He was a Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champ. When the weakest position on your team is still a Pro Bowler. You're cooking.
Yep, Marvel Smith too. We got a superhero over here.
All right, and I'm just gonna get my other tackle out of the way. I went Tunch Ilkin, 2-time Pro Bowler, good Pro Bowler good player from like the only era where the Steelers like weren't winning Super Bowls.
Yep.
So he gets a little bit overlooked in like the whole grand history of Pittsburgh.
Sure.
But a solid player in his time for the Steelers.
I went Alejandro Villanueva.
Oh.
Yeah, I went a little bit modern guy. He was very consistent for the Steelers, and it's kind of the same situation of if you don't have Hall of Fame guys who are just guys you set and forget, then give me a guy who fights his fucking heart out and is a fucking stud. I mean, former Army guy, former veteran, former student at Army. Like, this is the guy I want in my right tackle situation, especially, it was only for a couple of years when he was around before he went to Baltimore and then finally called it.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I went for a stud who this guy fights with heart. This guy he'll hit you in the fucking mouth in the way Hines Ward will. And I very much, I had to stick with him.
Now, on to the interior where great players are left out.
Unfortunately.
Left guard, Alan Faneca.
Okay.
7 Pro Bowls, 6 first-team All-Pros, 1 second-team All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, 2000s All-Decade Team, Hall of Famer.
Right there with you.
Okay.
Left guard.
Center, Mike Webster.
Yep.
9 Pro Bowls, a first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ, 70s and 80s All-Decade Team, NFL 75th and 100th anniversary team.
25 years of dominance.
And a Hall of Famer.
25 years of dominance while being retired. It's insane.
Huge shout out to Marquise Pouncey.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I wanted to put you.
He is also a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro and all that stuff. The problem is,
so is Webster.
That.
Yeah, no, I absolutely wanted to put Marquise Pouncey because name brand, love the guy, absolute stud of a center. But I mean, Mike Webster here kind of has the resume.
Yep. Right guard, modern David DeCastro.
Yep, me too.
6 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros, and a second-team All-Pro.
Easy peasy.
Great. So the offense, I think we're cooking.
Yeah, we're balling.
Now, to the modified steel curtain.
The modern steel curtain, is that what we want to call it?
I don't even know what we want to call it that. It's mostly the steel curtain with a few additions. But here we go. So, I went 4 backers.
Okay.
So, DN1, LC Greenwood, 6 Pro Bowls, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champion. Not in the Hall of Fame, but has been nominated many, many times. So this is somebody that played to that level.
Yeah, absolutely. I got him myself. Just a stud. 6 Pro Bowl, or like you said, 6 Pro Bowls, 4-time Super Bowl champion. Makes it a little bit easier to call a guy a winner.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely proven that he's won before.
This next one is certainly a winner.
Who?
Mean Joe Green.
No, you didn't put Mean Joe Green on this list, did you?
No, I thought about leaving him off. No, 10-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 70s All-Decade Team, NFL 75 and 100 Team, Hall of Famer, and a Man of the Year. Mean Joe Green. Easy enough.
What else do you want me to say, man?
Who
Absolutely.
you got at the other D lineman spot?
The other D lineman spot?
Or D tackle spot, or whatever you want to do next.
I got Aaron Smith at my other D end.
Okay.
Yeah, stud. Just kind of a little bit of an older guy, but able to get to the quarterback. Kind of what I'm looking for here, especially when you got Joe Green being double teamed. I just need a guy who's proven that he can get to the quarterback.
I went with another D tackle for the third lineman, and I went Cameron Hayward. 5 Pro Bowls, 3 first-team All-Pros, and a second-team All-Pro. We have rushers for days. Cameron Hayward himself is a very good rusher. Has multiple seasons with double-digit sacks. And is also like a really good run defender.
Absolutely.
So I went Cameron Hayward.
I don't blame you.
A modern player. I always debate when I brought those in on this team, but I think he's earned that right.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you do 4 D linemen or 4 backers?
I did 4 D linemen.
All right, who's your other D lineman?
So I got another D tackle, and Ernie Stoutner.
Yep.
70. They retired 70 because of him. He's just, again, another stud. It was one of those, it's one of those guys that, in your case, had to leave off because you're doing linebackers. But yeah, they're just an absolute stud for Steelers, I went with I just kind of keep the core together of these guys who had, from that era who have played together.
Yeah.
Them together. They already did it once. Do it
All right.
again.
There you go. All right, so for my first backer, I'm going to start with my outside backers.
Okay.
The first one I'm going to just tick off is James Harrison.
Yep.
5 Pro Bowls, 2-time first team All-Pro,
Yep.
2-time second team All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and Defensive Player of the Year in Pittsburgh.
Depoy.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about that. Absolutely. James Harrison. When I think of James Harrison, I think of that crazy pick return in that Super Bowl.
He could be in the Hall of Fame, too, when this is done.
Possibly. And then that move to New England. Did he win a ring?
He was a Bengal, by the way, for a year.
Was he really?
Then went back to Pittsburgh, then New England.
Wow, I don't even remember that, to be honest. But again, I wasn't a Bengals fan back then. But
Yeah.
I feel like I should have known that. But James Harrison. I got him on my list as my left outside linebacker.
Okay.
Tough to stop.
All right. So my other outside linebacker,
Yep.
TJ Watt.
Oh.
So, 4-time Pro Bowler already, 3-time first team All-Pro already, second team All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year, tied for the records of most sacks in a single season with 22.5, led the league in sacks for 2 years in a row. He's already third in...
I take out James Harrison. I put TJ Watt.
Hold on. He's third in Steelers history in sacks.
Yep.
And guess what? He is probably going to become the all-time Steelers leading sack guy this year.
You're right.
So TJ Watt, a modern player, is about to become at the very top of the Steelers for something. So I got TJ Watt as my other outside backer.
I feel stupid. I can't believe I missed that one. Because I went with
He's the whole reason that I switched to 4 backers.
I don't blame you.
Because I had 2 Defensive Player of the Years at outside backers. So I was like, I'm going 2 backers.
Fair enough. Yeah, the way that I had it was, if you don't mind me going ahead a little bit.
No, go for it.
I have left outside linebacker James Harrison.
Uh-huh.
I have middle middle.
We're going to have the same.
Linebacker Jack Lambert.
Lambert.
Yep. And then right outside linebacker, I've got Jack
Ham.
Yeah.
See, those are my 2 off-ball backers inside. So
Okay.
I went Lambert because, okay, here we go, Lambert. 9-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first team All-Pro,
Yep.
2-time second team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champion, a Defensive Player of the Year, 70s, 80s All-Decade Team, NFL 75th and 100 anniversary teams, Hall of Famer. Right now, I have 3 Defensive Player of the Years just in my linebacker core.
It's fucking disgusting. So the only reason,
And not to mention, I have Defensive Player of the Year on the D-line as well.
yeah, no, I think I take out James Harrison because I'm doing 3 linebackers. So unfortunately, someone's got to miss. I can't take out TJ Watt. I can't believe I forgot.
Sold him.
Yeah, it sold me on it. Can't believe I forgot him. Like, I feel bad that I actually forgot this guy because I technically owe this guy money because I need to buy his jersey because he won me a fantasy game. I was down by 10.
And he went off.
And I had the Steelers defense left. I won by 12.
There you go.
Like, bro, I owe this guy my fucking next paycheck, to be completely honest with you.
And then-
I've kept...
Oh, he's
not buying
great.
That jersey.
And then, real quick, I'm just going to get through my last backer
Do it.
here. Jack Ham.
Yep.
8-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ, 70s All-Decade Team, NFL 75th and 100th anniversary team,
Yep.
and another Hall of Famer. So all 4 of my linebackers are at some point going to be in the Hall of Fame. 3 of them are Defensive Player of the Year.
Not a bad
That
look.
linebacker core
It's disgusting.
is no fun.
I'm sick to my stomach thinking about that one, to be honest with you. But
And then now moving on from there, we're going to the secondary.
okay.
First corner,
Rod Woodson.
Rob Woodson. Yep. 7 Pro Bowls, 5 first team All-Pros, a second team All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year, 90s All-Decade Team, NFL 75th and 100 team, and a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's easy peasy on that one. And I mean, we already
Second one's easy too. Mel Blunt.
Yep.
Yep.
Easy peasy.
5 Pro Bowls, 2-time first team All-Pro, 4-time second team All-Pro,
Yep.
4-time Super Bowl champ, Defensive Player of the Year, 80s All-Decade Team, 75th and 100th anniversary teams, another Hall of Famer.
It's a little steel curtain action for sure.
Free safety. This turned into a debate for me.
Really?
Yes.
Who'd you go with?
I went with Donnie Shell.
Okay.
5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All-Pro, 1-time second team All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ, Hall of Famer. Now, I debated Minkah Fitzpatrick,
Really?
but here's the whole reason it didn't happen. Because he's like, his matchup, he like matches sort of with Pro Bowls and stuff like that. I don't believe Minkah Fitzpatrick is a Hall of Famer.
No.
So that right there is what did it by itself.
Fair enough.
Because again, Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of the better safeties in the league right now. But to be on the Steelers all-time team, you have to hit that level.
You have to be an
And
all-time
I don't
player.
think he does.
Yeah. I mean, shout out Donnie.
Who'd you do at free safety?
I did Jack Butler.
Okay.
So another guy who's well proven from that era, but I do think Donnie Shell absolutely.
Read me some stats from him.
Yeah, absolutely. 52 pick passes in 103 games, all decade team from the 50s.
Yeah.
So the issue here is he's much older.
Uh-huh.
So it's one of those situations where
Yeah, I picked the steel curtain free safety, so
I think the steel curtain free safety is absolutely the right call. But I wanted to give a little shout out to my boy Jack Butler.
fair enough.
From 52 pick passes in 103 games in the 50s when they weren't throwing.
Yep.
Like ball hawk.
Very impressive.
You want to talk ball hawk? I'll talk ball hawk.
Yeah.
But Donnie Shell absolutely.
And the other, but strong safety.
Yeah, that one's an easy one.
Yep. There are two top 3 safeties all time in this division. Troy Polamalu.
I love that fucking guy.
Love Troy Polamalu. So Troy Polamalu, 8 Pro Bowls,
Yep.
4-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champion,
Yep.
Defensive Player of the Year,
Yep.
2000s All-Decade Team,
Yep.
Hall of Famer.
Yep. Easy fucking peasy.
Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed. You can debate which one's better. They play completely different positions, completely differently.
Imagine having both of them. I mean, I know that's
That we can do that sometime later. We can do the all-time AFC North roster, and it's basically just going to be the Steelers with Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and a few other things.
Maybe you'll get Joe Burrow as quarterback for some compensation purposes.
Oh, you think that's going to happen?
I'll put Joe Burrow on the all-time AFC North team. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. He's
Today,
absolutely. I will project that far. I will project that fucking far.
Okay, whatever you say. He's got way more to do before he passes any Steelers.
Shout out Big Ben.
He's got way more to do before he passes my Steelers backup quarterback.
I think he's already passed Terry. Granted, because no disrespect to Terry. Don't get me wrong. Terry's the man. Balled out 4 Super Bowls. But I think when it's all said and done, Joe Burrow is going to be above Terry.
I think when it's all said and done, he'll have less Super Bowls than Ben Roethlisberger. But regardless, Troy Polamalu at strong safety.
Yes, sir.
You have, again, it's either him or Ed Reed that you argue for second or third best generally all time. You're going to be, again, extremely hard pressed to ever get a better strong safety than Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
So that is
him retiring.
Real quickly, I want to run through the Steelers defense really quick.
Sure.
So, Joe Green, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. James Harrison, Defensive Player of the Year. Jack Lambert, Defensive Player of the Year. TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. Rod Woodson, Defensive Player of the Year. Mel Blount, Defensive Player of the Year. Troy Polamalu, Defensive Player of the Year. All but, 4 players?
That's 7, right?
Yeah, there's 7 Defensive Player of the Years
So, yeah.
coming out for the Steelers.
That is.
And every single one is either a Hall of Famer or a potential Hall of Famer who's either still playing or has not hit the eligibility yet.
Yeah.
So, shit. But
try playing
now moving on.
offense against that shit.
Now moving on to special teams.
Because it's important.
Yeah. Chris Boswell is my kicker.
Boz.
Most accurate kicker.
Yes, sir.
Gary Anderson was considered, but Boswell is 10% more accurate on field goals.
And it's more modern, so he's ready for that longer extra point.
Yeah. Punter, I got Bobby Walden.
I would Jordan Berry.
I thought about that.
Yeah, just high up there in the punt net average. So I'm like, you know what?
I thought about that.
How often are you gonna be punting?
Well, I was about to mention that. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna have to punt far or often.
Exactly.
And then kick returner, punt returner. I did Antonio Brown.
Really?
Because he's one of the. I just remember stories of people saying that they didn't like if he was out there returning, kick it away from him.
I just remember the fucking
kick to the face.
The kick to the face, and I'm like, yeah, you're my punt return. Bro.
So I got Antonio Brown coming out to return punts. So
I didn't know if you would put him there as well, but yeah, I mean that kick to the face was strictly. I was like, God, put him there.
Yeah.
That kick to the face.
Did you actually?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, good.
No, AB's the fucking man.
Right.
Especially in that situation of like, strictly for that kick because like not is that. Obviously, illegal play and doesn't count, right?
Yeah.
It got flagged and he got fucking brought back and everybody laughed about it. It was
Yep.
like, oh, what a fucking crazy play. The confidence you need as a returner to stare a fucking guy in the face. I don't give a shit if it's the fucking punter. To literally, like, as someone who is as good as you are at being elusive, AB, you could have easily just run around a fucking punter. You said, I don't give a fuck. I'm kicking this guy in the face and I'm dominating this motherfucker into the fucking dirt.
Exactly.
And that right there is the kind of mentality I want on my fucking punt returner.
There we go.
Or kick returner in this case.
All right, so those are the 4 rosters. And so now we are going to break down how we think this division would go. Let's just get it out of the way. Pittsburgh wins it.
Yeah, duh.
So,
easy.
Listen, we'll rip the Band-Aid off. We're going to have a little more fun debating, I think, 3 and 4, probably.
I think Ravens.
Because I was about to say, you might not like the Ravens, but I think they're pretty comfortably 2.
It sucks, but absolutely, yeah. I think there's, even with my bias against them and everything, I'd love to sit here and complain, but...
Listen,
I have a job to do for 3 and 4, and that's to get Bengals into 3.
Yeah,
with one Hall of Famer.
You're like,
get out of here, Ravens! I got one person to fight right now.
You're like, God damn it! I need to just pick my battle, and right now it's not with the Steelers
it's the
and
goddamn
Ravens.
Cleveland Browns. Like I will pick this one.
So leave it to Ohio to battle for misery here. So yeah, just real quick, I just want to shout out Steelers, obviously number 1. I think everybody going into this. It was probably suspected Pittsburgh would win this division.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is a team that I suspect is going to be hanging around at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know how far some of these other teams could be really great.
The AFC playoffs
I suspect Pittsburgh is going to be a very tough thing to contend with. Baltimore, again, I'm more just impressed with Baltimore that they have this many great players in the amount of time they've been around. Yeah. So shout out to them. They just aren't Pittsburgh yet, but they're tough and hard-nosed, and they got enough to beat Cincy and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Now, Cincy and Cleveland. Ohio, baby. Ohio. Leave it to Ohio. Let's see here. So Steelers get Ravens and Steelers up out of here. I'm just going through and looking at this thing, basically. So, I'm going to start at head coach.
Okay.
I would take Paul Brown over Marvin Lewis. So, I would say 0.1 Browns.
Yeah, I don't think Forrest Gregg changes that argument.
No. So, I would say that they got the coaching edge.
Seeing as one of the coaches who are one of the best in the Bengals history is the best coach for the Browns.
Yeah. I think I think you conceded that you gave him to the Browns.
Yeah.
Quarterback, autogrammer Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
I am willing to call this one a push for the generational gap. Accomplishments are absolutely Browns. But modern, taste and stuff like that is Burrow. So I'm willing to call that a push.
I'm willing to say Joe Burrow.
All right. You can say that.
We just had this conversation of you're looking at a guy who's thrown 2,000 yards.
I know, but I've also built this Browns team different.
Okay, well we're not talking about the Browns team right now. We're comparing the 2 quarterbacks.
I'm not willing.
Who would you rather have? 2 quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, autogram, throwing the football for you.
If I was to pick, but if you're giving me options, I don't want either of these 2.
No, you're only getting these 2. It is Joe Burrow throwing the ball for your team, or it is Otto Graham throwing the ball for your team?
I'll give you Joe Burrow just because...
That one was for you, Cincy.
I
fought to the nail for
I'll give you Joe Burrow for it, but I'm just saying, that I think I would consider a push. I'll give you Joe Burrow, fine. Running back, can we not?
It's Jim Brown.
Yeah, Jim Brown,
and Franco Harris, or whoever the fuck.
I did Nick Chubb for my other one.
Excuse me, Nick Chubb, yeah.
Still got
Franco Harris is a Steeler.
But listen, Jim Brown by himself takes out that.
Yeah.
So we'll do it like this since we did different numbers.
Okay.
We'll say backfield, running backfield, Browns. I'll say wide receiver core, Bengals.
Same.
Okay. So we got that.
I'm going to make tallies really quick. So we're at 2-2 right now.
Yeah. O-line is Browns.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
I'm just saying, even with Munoz, the Browns have Joe Thomas. That is not a big gap, if there is any at all.
If any, that evens it.
Yeah, if it's anything at all, that position's a wash.
Yeah.
And then the Browns have more.
Yeah.
I
think Willie Anderson and Max Montoya are honestly great. This is no discredit to them at all, and I'm sorry, Bengals fans. I'm trying to be objective here.
I respect that.
But absolutely, unfortunately... There's 2. If I'm gonna sit here and say which quarterback would you rather have? Which
line would you rather have?
Exactly, I'd rather have the Browns line. So.
Okay, so Browns have the edge heading into the defensive round.
3-2.
Yep.
3-2 Browns.
Okay. Pass rush. Myles Garrett alone makes this tough, dude.
I don't know. Coy Bacon? Geno Atkins? Trey Hendrickson?
I would say Geno Atkins is the only thing on there
Okay, so Geno Atkins.
that I would rather have than a Browns piece.
Really? You'd rather...
I would not rather have Trey Hendrickson than something like that.
Fair.
Like,
Fair.
he hasn't done that much.
Fair.
I would say D-line's a wash. Because they both have one elite piece and some complimentary guys that are, like, solid but not great.
Yeah.
So I would say D-line's a wash, no point.
No point for either?
Okay.
Okay.
Linebacker. I'm giving it to Browns on Clay Matthews alone.
Nah, I'm giving it to the Bengals.
For what?
Reggie Williams.
What did he do?
His best?
His best. He did his best. So did Clay Matthews, and his best was better.
Jim
And
LeClaire?
then Walt Michaels is the other backer I have, and he's also a multiple-time Pro Bowler.
Jim LeClaire? We're just going to forget about that? 12-year Bengal? One Pro Bowl. Whoops.
One Pro Bowl. So, but with my two linebackers compared to the three,
Okay.
the Browns' two linebackers are 9 Pro Bowls.
Yeah, all right. You got me. Just fucking shut up.
So linebacker core is Browns.
Fuck it, whatever.
And then secondary, dude,
I don't know.
the Browns' corners are better.
I know Parrish and Riley are pretty good, though. I don't know.
And the Browns' safeties are not bad. Dude.
Tommy and David, though.
Dude. Oh, no.
Tommy and David, bro.
I'm going to let you fight right now because I'm telling you right now, I'm secondary. I'm leading Browns also. They just have more dudes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I'm going to let you battle for your Bengals secondary. But I'm telling you right now, I feel very, very comfortable in saying I would rather have the Browns corners 100%. And then you can argue the safeties, I guess. But
David Fulcher and Tommy Casanova are I would take over the safeties. So let's split it
I
up.
would take Darden.
Let's split it up. Let's go CBs and let's go safeties.
Cornerbacks, Browns all the way.
Safeties will go Bengals. I can live with that. I would take the Bengals.
Okay.
I would take the Bengals safeties with the Browns corners any day.
Okay.
So I will at least fight for. I fought for a third fucking point for us. I want you guys to know that. Against Denzel Ward and all of these other fucking guys, Hanford Dixon, Frank Minifield, like Thomas Darden, Eric Turner. I went out of my way. I got us a goddamn point for our safeties. You're welcome, Bengals fans. Who day, baby?
Special teams, dude. Josh Cribbs, Gary Collins, Phil Dawson.
I take Hoover, bro. Hoover's a baller.
I'd take Josh Cribbs.
I take Lamar Parrish, baby.
Do not.
What do you want me to do? Sit here and just fucking say, yeah, fuck the Bengals,
Okay,
bro.
no, we'll go position by position here. Would you rather really? You're not gonna take Josh Cribbs.
If
At returner. Okay, don't
sacrificing
not
Josh Cribbs
not
means
the
I
other
get-
two.
Okay. I'd rather have Josh Cribbs, obviously. But there's two other pieces to special teams that you're not looking at here.
Yep, there are.
Over Phil Dawson, I'd take Jim Breach.
We did different kickers.
Okay, who's your kicker again?
I did Shane Graham.
I'd pick Shane Graham over Phil Dawson. Phil Dawson was consistent, sure.
So was Shane Graham. They were both the same type of kicker.
Shane Graham looked better. Not bald.
He's not bald.
I'm kidding. There's nothing wrong with being bald. I don't know what that's like, but I'm with you. My friend Jack says the hair doesn't make the man. So I don't want to sit here and say, hey, Phil Dawson, you're bald, you
all
suck.
right.
But at the same time, all right, well, give me Jim Breach, then we'll argue punters, and I will die on this hill.
I'm not going to argue punters that much. Here's what I'm going to say. I think the Bengals are fourth here.
See, here's the thing. If you give me special teams right now, Browns are still 3. Does not matter. The Browns are up 5 points, and the Bengals have 3 points.
I know,
if you give me my
part of me just really wants to battle it out with you.
I know you do.
Part of me wants to just put you out of your misery.
The guy who didn't even put on kicker and punter on our first roster.
Yeah.
You're telling me you want to battle me on special teams? Special teams are
I
going to the
battled you
Bengals.
for a return man.
I give special teams to the Bengals.
Fine. I'll give you that, but I'm telling you right now that return man is head and shoulders above any other gap on here. But
Sure.
But okay, so here.
But
so
regardless,
you can battle all you want to say the Bengals are third. The Bengals have one Hall of Famer.
it's so close, guys. It's 4-5. Like, we're not that far behind. We could change this. We could absolutely, like, fuck the Browns. We could absolutely change this. And you know they're going to fucking suck.
I only have one question for you.
Please.
How does it feel to know that the Bengals are beneath the Browns all time?
It makes me feel good that they have something.
Okay, they finally have something. So, I mean, I'll just tell you my official standings for them. Steelers 1, Ravens 2, Browns 3, Bengals 4.
I got Bengals 1,
Uh-huh.
Steelers 4.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember the rest.
It's like golf. Yeah.
No, I absolutely it's Steelers at the top, and I guess you could make an argument that the Ravens maybe could fight to win the division.
I think the Ravens would fight them. Like I think the Ravens are like perfectly willing to go like tooth and nail to the end.
Oh, and they will.
The
'cause it's
Pittsburgh
versus
Pittsburgh
the Steelers,
just
yeah.
has way more.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh gets it done.
Like if you wanna talk like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, just for the hell of it.
I mean, why not?
Like if you just want to go down like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and rank them basically like this, basically what we just did. Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh. I'll take Mike Tomlin. That's closer than a lot of people would think, but I would take Mike Tomlin. Listen, Harbaugh's a formidable coach, but Tomlin's better.
I almost want to take Harbaugh,
Why?
Coach of the Year.
All right, fair enough. Roethlisberger, Lamar Jackson,
Roethlisberger.
Big Ben. Ray Rice and Jamal Lewis versus Franco Harris or the Bus. I'd call that. You can call it a wash if you want for just volume for the Ravens, but like one.
Give it to the Steelers.
I was about to say just like
Steelers
one.
have the Hall of
I was
Famers.
about to say like one player. It's the Steelers.
Yeah.
Wide receiver court. Don't play with me. It's the Steelers.
Yeah.
Tight end. You might be able to give that to Baltimore.
You could give it with Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I'll give tight end to.
He I think Heath's good, but Heath's good as a possession guy.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews is a red zone threat.
Yep, and then O-line, Steelers.
Yeah.
Other than Ogden.
No disrespect
They
to the
don't-
Ravens. Yeah.
No, other than Ogden on the Ravens, it's the Steelers.
Yeah.
Defensive line, it's Pittsburgh. Linebackers, it's Pittsburgh. All respect to Ray Lewis.
Respect to the Ravens linebackers because there's a reason there's 4 of them.
They're
on
really
here.
good.
Yeah, but no, we made the point already with like there's like 3 deep.
All four of the
Steelers.
Steelers linebackers will be Hall of Famers. 3 of them are Defensive Players of the Year.
Yeah, that's hard to beat.
If you want to get into the secondary, Marlon Humphrey or Rod Woodson. Chris McAllister or Mel Blunt. Mel Blunt.
Yep.
Donnie Shell, Ed Reed. I'll give you Ed Reed.
Ed Reed.
Troy Polamalu, Rod Woodson, Troy Polamalu.
Troy Polamalu.
Now, if you really want to get into it and go Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed, I think it's really an impossible comparison because they played so damn opposite.
Yeah.
But
Apples and oranges.
that's the only thing that's like comparable in the secondary.
Yeah.
You could say, I would argue just Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu wash. For what they are, they're the absolute best.
But the corners of the Steelers are
Oh,
so
yeah, I know.
better.
Oh, I know. I'm just talking specifically. The only thing that's interesting to debate in the secondary is Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
It's the only interesting thing in there.
Yeah.
And that's because they're both top 3 safeties all time.
Yeah.
So that's all it is. But, I mean, special teams. I'll give special teams to Baltimore.
Sure. Have it.
They can have special teams.
Hey, you got Justin Tucker. Sure.
I mean, listen, you better be good on special teams because they're not going to be moving
nail
the
that
ball very
75-yarder you're going to have to do, Justin.
He's going to have to break his record.
By 10 fucking yards.
So listen, I think that Baltimore would fight. They're all tough guys. There are enough great players on
Baltimore
there.
could easily
The
be a
problem that just is Pittsburgh's just overwhelming everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to. The team that is gonna fight with Pittsburgh and like actually have a chance to beat Pittsburgh. I got a few teams in mind that I think will be there, but
It'd be interesting to see the Patriots versus them.
that'd be interesting.
That would be
I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that, but
the best Patriots team versus the best Steelers team. That would be interesting to watch.
that'd be very interesting. I mean, again, there's a few teams that are I think going to be able to hang with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Baltimore's been around 40 years less, and they've done great in their time. But they simply do not have enough time to amass the sheer amount of Hall of Fame talent that Pittsburgh fields.
Oh.
So, I mean, Pittsburgh's a safe one. I think Baltimore's a safe two. Like, if you wanted to go through the Ravens and do that list like we did with the Browns and the Bengals, I think the Ravens would check off basically everything.
The Ravens still pull it off, you know?
They basically check off everything. But, yeah, so Pittsburgh's number one. Next week, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm not exactly sure. Next week, I have one team I'm very interested to see what their all-time lineup looks like.
Okay.
But next week, we're doing the AFC South.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we got Colts,
Jaguars,
Titans, Texans,
Texans.
Jags. I wanted to bring this up to you so everybody's clear on it. My thought is anybody that was a Houston Oiler, Titans. Because Houston, but they moved directly to Tennessee, and a lot of them played in Tennessee after the move.
Yeah.
So my thought on
that was a whole thing.
So my thought on the whole thing is if the team moved, because again, you could say like Baltimore Colts.
True.
But I'm counting it as like the franchise that it was. So it's like Oilers became the Titans. Titans get access to that. Baltimore Colts became Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts will get access to that.
Okay.
That's the way that I thought of it. Because otherwise you're like, we're crossing like Baltimore Colts could have been Ravens.
And think about how many Tennessee Titans are Hall of Famers.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be honest, this might be the best Tennessee Titans team I've ever seen in my life, and they are horribly overrated.
We'll see. But yeah, AFC South next week. As of right now, we got New England and Pittsburgh as division winners going into the playoffs. We'll assess the wild cards at the end of each conference.
Yeah.
But yeah, AFC South next week, and that will do it for us today. Until next time,
yeah.
deuces.
Peace.